right, what do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God! No!
All right. Wow. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. It's me, Legal Vices, with Meme Copium, joining us today as the normal guy in chat.
Hello.
To ask the normal questions.
I do have some questions, actually.
Well, good. Because the jury is coming in as we speak. That was good timing on my behalf. Whoa, don't want to embiggen you.
You made me
Right.
small.
Wow.
Yeah, never mind.
I apologize.
How's it going, Chet? How's it going?
It's going good. Well, that didn't help much, did it? I mean, I locked myself. Where did we go? I need my screen back. Don't close that screen, dummy. There we go. I wish you could make us big and them small. All right, I'll be setting up the like and subscribe poll here in just a little bit. Again, Meme's going to be joining us for a while. Other people hopefully will be coming to clear some of this horrifically boring trial. They need to start connecting dots, or they're going to lose the prosecution.
Mm-hmm. I'm completely unfamiliar with this case. I was just looking up now.
Oh, my Lord in heaven. We'll do some interesting stuff at a break here. He's accused of killing his wife and his son with different firearms.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Day number 6.
About 100 other financial crimes and drug crimes.
You or talk
Oh,
with
I'm seeing that.
Anyway.
His family, his father, his grandfather, and his great-grandfather have been the prosecutor of this town for 102 years.
Please, court, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, 112 years. Marv White says, sorry, I was late. I was watching a Maritime Monday stream by some American lawyer in Korea. The bastard should have let you get over here early.
I want to make sure I have the right stack of stuff.
Yeah, this is weird. As it goes on, it's just weird stories. He's a lawyer as well, too. It's about 96, 97 federal financial crimes, drug manufacturing, possession, dealing, murdering his family. His son, one of his sons, the dead son, was involved in a boating accident that killed a girl about 6 years ago. All this was coming down on him, so he actually paid his cousin to do a drive-by shooting and shoot him in the head so his son would get $10 million life insurance, but his cousin missed and just kind of grazed his head.
Calling
It's
Ms. Worley,
just
you have a
weird.
rank,
I'm
Yeah,
a
this is
senior
crazy.
criminalist.
Just reading it
not
now.
lieutenant or captain or
Yep.
senior.
Criminalist.
And what is a criminalist? Criminalist.
I'm in the lab, basically.
CSI.
I'm sorry,
I'm based in the lab, the forensic lab.
but you went out to this crime scene.
I did, yes.
You normally go out to crime scenes?
At that time, yes, I was a special agent.
You were what?
I was a special agent at the time that I worked this. Yes.
She's testified for a very long time. This is
Special
Clarice
agent
Starling.
What's so special about the special agent?
That's what SLED agents are referred to as.
Okay. Beg the court's indulgence for one moment.
And he is the defense lawyer. He's a state senator for South Carolina, where this is taking place. And his name is Dick Harpootlian.
Did you say that the forensic scientist name was Clarice?
No, I was saying she's the Clarice Starling character in all of this.
I see.
Yeah.
I was like,
She
that'd be
kind of
too
looks
perfect,
like her,
wouldn't it?
kind of talks like her. But yeah, Dick Harpootlian, Andrew and I, we just refer to him as Dick Poon for short. It gets where we need
This
to
is a very long article.
Talk
Over
about
88
what you did on this case. I'm going to try not to repeat a lot of the testimony from our scintillating Friday afternoon together.
All right, chat. How are we doing with the volume?
First, go to the
How's the balance on the volume
I responded
between me, the court, and
As soon as I
them,
got the phone
and
call
Josh?
at 10:33 p.m., I got on the road from my house within 30 minutes and arrived on scene at 12:07 a.m.
12:07 a.m.
Yes.
Now, when you got there, the Carlton County Sheriff's Department, were they supposed to process the scene?
No,
What they were supposed to do?
security.
Secure it, so nobody
Good
could
audio?
walk
Okay.
over things and nobody could in any way disturb trace evidence, forensic evidence. Isn't that correct?
Josh,
Yes.
I'm getting a
Now, when you
PowerPoint
got
that sums
there,
all of
did
this
you
up for you.
determine they had done
Thanks.
more than just secure the scene?
They'd marked some evidence that they'd found before we got there.
And you also found, for instance, that we've shown you videos that they actually, some of them, or at least one of them, if not two of them, walked into the feed room where Paul was killed, correct?
Someone did to place a marker one.
They were killed outside some dog
Someone had
kennels.
walked in there to place marker one.
And matter of fact, when you did your footwear impression examination, you found that there was a bloody footprint caused by one of the officers. Isn't that right?
After we had started processing the scene, yes.
Yes, but I mean, one of the bloody footprints in that feed room was not Paul, not the perpetrator. It was a police officer,
Yes.
probably a Colleton County police officer.
I don't know that for sure.
Who else could it be?
It could have been one of us from
One of
SLED.
yours?
I don't think it was mine, but it could have been from SLED. I don't know.
It could have been SLED, could have been Colleton County, could have been the coroner.
Yeah, sure.
But, I mean, and in your business, there are rules about who should be walking through crime scenes, right?
Yeah. Preferably as few people as possible. If you don't need to be in there, then you shouldn't be in there.
And when they, went around and pulled the sheet up, they were walking in an area where most likely the perpetrator had walked, correct?
Possibly, yes.
I mean, that's right outside the feed room.
Right.
And those shell casings that were near, or some of them were near, some of them were further away from Maggie's body, walking in the dark, increases the probability that some trace evidence has been disturbed or destroyed.
That's probably why they went ahead and marked evidence before we got there, because they found it and went ahead and marked it so that it
I'm not sure if
wouldn't
you
be
can. I
disturbed.
sent something to the private chat. I'm not sure you can
Said
open it.
There's shell casings in there, so when you got there,
Trying to. It doesn't seem
you would have been, maybe you would have even waited till the next morning when you had some light, right?
No, we would have started like we did as soon as we got on scene.
Okay. Well, you did some measurements,
Yes.
and those measurements are recorded on a sketch you did,
Yes.
not to scale.
Right.
And make sure. Yeah, that's my stuff.
All right, I sent you a better link, the one that actually goes to the original thing.
These are all.
There's no audio on the video. It's just like a 4-minute overview. You can fast forward through it. It'll tell you all you need to know about this insane case.
Okay, so
All right, let's have a look.
let's look at.
Oh, hang on, I need to go get my notepad. I'll be right back.
Good morning, Britt. It's like no, but so the defense is not saying anything, so I can talk to the chat for a little bit. Hello there, Joy. Hello there, ex-Kuma. Now, I haven't been following these trials. This is all new to me, but seems like an insane story. It's like a massive crime throughout the family. 88 counts over $1.8 billion in attempted embezzlement. What is going on here? This is insane. Good morning, Pixel. How's it going? How's it going, Valhalla? That's right. I was just saying hi to the chat while I was reading through the quick facts.
It's
Trying to
nuts.
embezzle $1 billion from people. Is that what I'm reading that right?
Yeah, he got about 8.5 million out of Oh, and there was also, I think, to the body. Oh, you got to the part about his housekeeper mysteriously died. A lot of bodies around this guy.
Any objections?
The witness is not Javier Bardem in a dress.
Some family looked like it escaped from a fish and chip shop.
Well, I'm just trying to.
Oh, do you need more time?
No, sir. I'm ready.
The ginger is real in the family.
Identify this. Can you tell me what that is, please?
This is my final crime scene diagram.
Okay, and you did it.
I did.
You can identify it.
Yes.
Your Honor, we would offer this documented evidence, please. It's her crime scene.
I know where the
No,
bodies
that'd be
are.
for the
Where the sticks. The bodies are everywhere in this game.
4.
And real quickly here.
Any
I already
objection?
read that one. Never mind.
Submitted without objection.
You got a twofer.
Okay, so can you put Worley number 1 up, please?
Flux raising the IQ of the chat with her super chat. Dick Poon. Thank you so much, Flux.
Okay. And you can see that on your screen.
Yes, sir.
And that is what I just showed you, right?
Yes, sir.
And what's important to note at the outset is this is not to scale, correct?
We never do our diagrams to scale now.
Okay, but it does tell us some things.
Yes.
You found a projectile that went through the doghouse,
That's right.
and you found a projectile that went through the small animal cage.
We didn't locate that projectile, but one did go
But you
through.
had an entrance and exit wound.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
And now these yellow items over here near Maggie's body, those represent blackout ejected shells.
Yes, those are the evidence markers marking 300 blackout.
Okay, and did you take measurements of where those were compared to anything else? For instance, we see a 23.9 between this post and that post. Did you do anything like that for the projectiles?
I don't believe I did the doghouse because it was inside the bedding of the doghouse.
I'm sorry, what now?
We didn't measure the projectile that was in the dog bed.
No, I'm talking about these yellow.
Yes.
Okay, did you measure where they were?
Yes.
And there are measurements somewhere?
I believe on the second page of
Pardon
the second page of my diagram should be the measurements.
Let me go to page 2. Do you have your report with you?
I do.
Do you have that page 2? I want to make sure I'm referring to the right one.
Wow, that's a colorful article of clothing.
Page 2 of 8, right?
Yes.
Okay, and when it says you've measured them RP1, RP2, what does that mean?
That's reference point. So,
All right, take the like poll, hit the like and subscribe, and take our poll. It's up today.
1. This column was reference point 2, and this column was reference point 3.
Okay, can you find page 2 for me, please?
Spotted 2 minorities in the audience. I guess what happened to their next meeting here?
Are redheads counted as minorities?
Speaking of redheads, where is he? The super redheady dude back here. That's his surviving son. That's the one he
I'll
didn't
come back
kill.
and show this on the Elmo.
We know who the favorite is.
Do we have a copy?
This family looks like they'll burst into flames if they walk outside on a cloudy day.
Not yet.
Now, it's interesting though, as we've gone on, the courtroom is filled up. It was empty the first day. It was literally empty, and now it's pretty full.
Let me give you yours back. And ask you. What'd I do? Here it is. Is that what we were just looking at?
Yes,
And are these your calculations?
they are.
And this is what you reported?
Yes.
Any objection?
No.
I'm sorry?
No objection.
No objection, okay. Your Honor, I'd like to offer this into evidence. I think this defense, fine.
Submitted.
We'll go back and look at that again in a minute.
Hayden from Aussie Overlord may be joining
and
us if he
so-
wakes up in an hour or so.
Can I have,
Isn't it like 3 a.m. in Australia?
Yeah, he's planning on waking up around 2 or 3.
Yeah, this seems like the trial of the year, I guess, since the year's not actually that far in, I guess.
Yeah, this would be like literally
seems like a big
the trial. Yeah, but it's
so
it's dull.
You
I can see it's like
located
very
these
long
shell
and
casings,
detailed.
right?
Right.
You did measurements of
Okay.
how far the small animal cage was from a reference point.
Yes.
And how far What was the reference point for the doghouse?
I'm not sure that I measured the doghouse to a reference point.
You did not measure the doghouse.
I don't think so.
Okay, so let's get a little more.
Take some notes here so I can remember.
Put KNW 1644 up, please.
The clerk has a really nice wallpaper on their on their computer. Looks like it might be Thailand. Not sure. Looks nice.
Can you tell me what this is a photo of?
It's the doghouse.
Well,
Looking-
and but did you make this or was this done under your supervision?
Yes.
Yeah, Your Honor, we'd offer this in evidence.
No objection.
Number 6.
Submit it.
Now,
Man, could she be any more statuesque and stoic there? Well, I don't know if she's statuesque. I don't know how tall. She looked tall. She's sitting high up in the chair. I don't know if it's like tall, but
Have you ever sat on one of those court chairs? Are they comfortable? I feel like they're really uncomfortable.
I never have. I never sat in a witness chair. Huh.
Is it like the
so to give the jury some
it's like the Iron Throne? It's supposed to be uncomfortable, so you have to sit up. You can't sit
Give
easy.
them some idea of the layout. This is the doghouse,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, that's right.
This is what you call the small animal cage right here.
Right.
And that's off the ground,
It has legs. Yes.
legs, right? The doghouse has got like a couple of 2x4s under it, so it's not laying directly on the ground, correct?
Yeah, I think that's right.
And then if we look over to the right, that would be the door to the feed room where Paul was shot and killed,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
So we're all singing from the same sheet of music here. There's the small animal, I'm calling it quail, but it's not. Is it quail? Quail.
See,
Apparently kept quail.
I've been rewatching some of this, and the
And then
prosecution,
there's the
he's acting
doghouse,
dumb,
and then there's
but
the door
he's playing
to
dumb.
The,
Yeah, and that man
He's
can
playing
tell what a
folksy
quail
look.
looks
did you
like.
do any measurements or
He's playing
Can you give us
folksy.
any- if
Well,
you're
golly gee
standing
here,
at
I
the-
don't know a lawyer.
at the quail pen right over here, and you're looking at a 90-degree angle that is out in front of you? Am I right on that 90 degrees?
Okay.
Are
Can we
you
not
looking
wave
at
the long,
door
sharp
to
object at the witness,
feed room,
please?
Or is it to the right?
When that
or
ruler
left?
came out, it was giving
Well, let
me
ask you
like
this. Did you take
flashbacks
any
from my
measurements?
high school.
Not
getting
directly from
scared.
the cage to
PTSD.
the door. No.
Can you tell me what is it, a 10-degree this way, 10-degree that way? I mean,
I'd have to look at the photographs. If any of the photographs show from the door to that animal cage or the animal cage to the door, you could see if it was at an angle or not, but
you didn't take any measurements when you were on, and when were you on the scene doing these measurements?
my initial measurements were the night of the incident. And then that picture was taken July 16th when we went back to take additional measurements.
And it was after July 16th, you generated the sketch we saw a moment ago.
No, I think I did this before we went back to the scene on the 16th.
So nothing changed in your sketch.
No,
And to your knowledge, you never took any sort of directional examination of the reference points, for instance, the dog pen and the door to the feed room, or from the quail cage to the door of the feed room, correct?
That's right.
Patrick Harris.
Okay, now, do you know what, hold on one second. Do we have Pharaoh?
Have you ever had quails as pets? They're actually phenomenal pets. I love quails.
I've had them for dinner.
What's
Never
Pharaoh?
had them
Tell
for
me
They are
what
delicious
Pharaoh
as well.
is.
The Pharaoh is a 3D laser scanner that we use to document the scenes.
Okay,
Takes
did you use a Pharaoh scanner on this scene?
On the July 16th, we did. We couldn't the night of the incident because it was raining.
So tell us how one scans for a Faro, and by the way, is the end result of that Faro process a three-dimensional view of the scene?
Yes, that's right.
And so that you can manipulate it,
Dog toy emergency. Hang on.
examine it in any direction you want, correct?
Yes.
And you had that done in this case.
Yes.
I did not hear the Attorney General ask you about it in your direct. Was it brought here to the courtroom?
I believe it's here, yes.
It's here. Okay, well, I have a copy of what you furnished to us. Any objection to this coming into evidence?
I like goth lawyer here.
All right, could you play that for me?
Goth prosecutor chick's pretty hot.
Wait 1 second.
She was wearing naughty
Does
librarian
Faro
black
stand for
stockings
something,
last
or is
week.
it a brand name like Coca-Cola or
It's like a plaid shirt.
Xerox or?
It's a brand name. I think it does stand for something. I'm not sure what. We just always call
But
it
it's a
Faro.
brand. When somebody says Faro, it's not, there's a specific commercial product called Faro that law enforcement uses, and other folks use too, right?
Yes.
What is it?
Okay, how about play that for me, and I may stop it from time to time.
Are temporary restraining orders a matter of public record by chance? Do you know?
Temporary restraining orders. I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Okay.
That's a random
Yeah.
question.
It's specific to something that I'm researching right now.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, start it and then stop it. Go ahead. Now stop it briefly. Is this a drone video
No, it's created by the Faro software.
created by Faro software?
Uh-oh.
Okay, go ahead.
He emphasized the word created. I mean, she's going to say, oh, so this isn't an accurate depiction because it was created by another product. See, he does these things very, very well.
Stop it again. That would be, right down here, that would be the dog, house, right?
Right.
Okay, keep going. Okay, stop right there. Now, we're seeing the inside of, what is this room called?
I refer to it as a workshop.
Work, okay. And the bullet that went into the quail cage, went through the quail cage and came out this wall, right?
That's right.
Okay, go ahead.
And remember how 3 days ago he didn't know how to work a microphone?
Again,
now
stop
he's
1 second.
now he's using Faro software to display images and he's craftily stupid. He's playing dumb. He's playing rope-a-dope. He's lulling you into
And
thinking
quality
he
of this
doesn't
isn't
know what
very
he's
good.
doing.
Why is that?
See the squinty eyes? This is acting.
Not really sure.
But I mean, isn't there a final product you get from this?
I'm not sure if there's something more final than I don't do the rendering of the software, so I'm not sure if there's
Okay.
something more than that.
Keep
She
going.
does sound like Clarice, doesn't she?
She does. Yeah, I'm firmly convinced he's playing dumb here.
Okay, stop. That's the quail cage right over here, correct?
That's right.
Right here. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, like Matlock meets Columbo. Yeah, this is the same witness from most of the day Friday, the criminologist. She's the head evidence collector person, so she's going to be important.
That would be the doghouse.
Yes.
Okay, let's keep
Acting.
going.
Yes. Sorry, that wasn't good, John Lovitz.
Stop it.
I'm not Jewish enough.
Now, the bullet hole into the doghouse is on the side facing this greenery, or is it on this side over here?
It's on the other side.
On the other side. So there's a bullet hole that comes in here.
Round the outside, round the
on this
outside.
side.
Right. The kennel side. Yes.
What now?
The side that the kennels are on.
No, the kennel's back this way, right?
Yeah, but it's on that. If you're looking at the front of the doghouse.
Okay, right. So it's coming in here,
Yes.
and where's it exiting?
It goes into the doghouse there was a dog bed in the doghouse. It goes in there.
Okay, keep going. Now, stop right there. Go back just a little bit.
Stop right there. Gotta know right now will you love me forever.
Okay, go ahead. So as we watch it come around, you would agree with me that the doghouse is not perpendicular to to the door to the feed room. Okay, keep going.
I'm so sad that I get this joke. E. Copa says, "Ma'am, can you explain the difference between a wee paw and a tay and a win?"
It's all French to me. What is the significance of the doghouse, though? Like, why they keep going over this? Does anyone
And
know?
that would
Is it
be
a mystery?
that would be the feed room right here.
It was in that old Jodie Foster movie where she grew up with like a sister, the feral in the woods, because the mother died and they never learned how to speak. You never saw that movie? What the hell was the name of that movie? Someone put the name of that movie.
So you can see
Could not tell
That's
you.
like-
Nell.
chicken coop right
Nell. The movie's name is
I
Nell.
believe so.
Never heard of it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'll have to check that out. Let's see.
Yeah, so they were killed in the entryway to the dog kennels.
Oh, okay.
That's where their bodies were.
How many dogs?
And
did
he
they have?
said that it was a kennel, so probably a few.
Yeah, like just hunting dogs, guard dogs, anything like that. Small dogs.
Don't know. Dogs.
And that's looking at a structure that's back probably 150, 200 feet away from the kennels, right?
Yes, Nell the mute girl.
Got farm equipment in it.
Yes.
Fedorovsky, now you can be Fedorovsky. Just not when I have a guest on. Well, a guest I care about anyway.
Have you ever seen the people that have the giant kennels of guinea pigs and hamsters? That's weird.
Okay. That's it.
Like, I would not be surprised if they had a murder at one of those places.
And convert it into, well, let me ask you this. Do you know how they do this?
On scene, we take scans with the scanner. Anything the laser touches, it records.
It destroys.
Beyond that,
Well, there's a laser touch, and then isn't there a camera that goes 360 degrees this way and 360 degrees this way? And the laser and the camera sync up, and you do a number of them,
yes,
maybe 100 or so. And then it knits it together
that's right.
to get this.
Yes.
But
Michelle
the thing with
Cavernos,
me is
member
that
for
you can
1
do
month of the
a
Clean
much
and Sober
more
crew.
focused look.
Jew roar. What did I miss?
This
Nothing.
obviously has not been converted totally to 3D, has it?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Who ordered this? Who said we need this?
I'm not really sure. I was told to go to the scene and additional documentation, and that's what we did. So I'm not sure.
So, I mean, if I told you your chain of custody on this indicates it was, y'all received it sometime in July or August of last year, and it's been in the custody of SWED since early January, probably 3 weeks ago. Is that correct?
I'm not sure when it was made, but
But it wasn't turned over or pulled out of the evidence locker until 3 weeks ago, correct?
I'm really not sure.
Okay. Now, let me ask you to look at that report of the sketches, right? Well, let me do this first.
Yeah, I wish they showed the evidence too, but it's usually available on court TV a few hours after.
Is my typing that loud? It's not that loud.
It
It's
is.
Kino. It's relaxing. People fall asleep to the sound of typing. It's wonderful. I do have a clickety-clack keyboard, though. I can mute myself when I type, though, if I so need to.
No, it just happened in front of the dog kennels.
Any objection?
Meme is loud. Meme is one of the softest people I know. I mean, like soft voice, not like soft person.
Until I get a few drinks in me.
All right, well, they're dicking around with that. Brandon Lesko Brandon says, "Hello, Clarice."
What are they?
Those are photographs that we took when we returned on July 16th.
And these are specifically photographs of the doghouse.
Yes.
And I'll get to these in just a minute.
I'm sure you will.
So this would be 7. This would be 8, 9, and 10. Make sure I don't put duplicates in. Let me also show you this photograph and see if you can identify it.
Yes.
What is that?
It's a picture when we were trying to determine the angle of that defect in the doghouse.
The defect would be the bullet hole.
Yes, sir.
I guess a bullet hole's a defect.
Offer this into evidence as number 11 without objection. 11, right? Okay.
Well, all right. I'm sure something dramatic is going to happen in just a bit. We just have to wait for it.
If we wait long enough, that ginger kid might get a soul.
Jury room for a break.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Please do not discuss the case.
Ready for a break? Someone's got to take a leak already? It's only been 30 minutes. Holy cow. All right, well. Huh. Somebody didn't go to the bathroom before they started. All right, well, we will just we'll send them to the background here. Michelle Cavernos, thank you so much for the super chat. Dickie Poo trying to pin it on the dogs, or yeah, there's also a dead chicken they were worried about.
What
See,
currency is
that's
that?
another thing.
ZAR.
South African.
Oh, that's interesting. ZARs. All the ZARs in the world.
Pre-marked exhibits, determine what you agree on and not,
Hang on.
agree on, and we'll proceed in a few minutes.
Oh, he's told them to go and mark their exhibits, agree on their numbering, and then we'll get back to this when both sides pull their head out of their collective asses. So that's what's going to be happening. And Nicholas Starov, Union Rep, Labor Law. Make sure you go to his channel and subscribe to it. Good stuff. This slow burn reminds me of negotiation tactics where I show opposing side. I'm in no hurry while they are. Not sure if it's as effective in court. It's like we were just talking about with trying to pin it on somebody else. And the first day of trial was just like watching Grandpa. And I even made the joke. He probably still has no idea how to stop the 12 o'clock from blinking on his VCR player. He just was totally incompetent, bumbling around, shuffling around the courtroom, pretending he didn't know what was going on. But I noticed that as he questioned witnesses, he would act kind of dumb, I think, to lull them into like a sense of, oh, I'm smarter than this guy or something. But he prowls the courtroom like some sort of like tiger or lion. And he gets right up on the defense lawyer. I mean, on the prosecutor. And then he gets right up on the witness. I mean, to the point where I would be saying, like, oh, could you please back the fuck off from my witness, please? But he just prowls. He gets right, and then he asks these little rapid fire short questions that are designed to make them admit they didn't do their job correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm starting to, when he uses things, he doesn't talk about the killer, or because obviously they're not guilty, and they say their argument is somebody else did it. He always says the killers or the perpetrators. He keeps using these plurals, and is
Only being involved.
Well, because I mean, their idea is there's two separate guns. The wife was shot with a rifle, and the son was shot with a shotgun. And the prosecution saying, well, it's just part of his creative way of trying to make it look like he didn't do it. Whereas they're arguing two separate killers. So he's always saying murderers, killers, perpetrators, intruders. He's always saying plural. And that's the plan there is for it to get back to the jury room and people start saying, well, we know he did this. Well, wait a minute. He kept saying plural. He kept saying ers. So there was another killer. What about them? This is all tactics. This guy is a lot smarter than I've been giving him.
That is pretty smart. Is there any evidence to suggest that there is a second killer apart from the rifles and the shotgun?
There's weirdness. There's lots and lots of weirdness. I mean, even he says that he got there. his deal is he went to visit his mother for an hour on a Monday night, and during that hour window, someone murdered his entire family except for one son. But when he came back, he said he's talking about seeing his son's brain everywhere, brain on the ceiling, his brain is sitting in his lap. But then he checked for a pulse to see if he was still alive. He's like, I'm not really a doctor, but if like there's a brain in my lap, I probably know the owner of that brain isn't with us anymore. But then he tried to roll the body over, and the cell phone allegedly slipped out of the pocket, so he put it on his back, and he checked to see if his wife was alive. But he has no blood anywhere on him.
That's bizarre. Did they know the time frame of the murders? Like how far apart they were? Like 10, 20, 30 minutes, something like that?
It was at the same time. Their cell phones both went dead.
Yeah, in a combat situation, it's pretty strange to change weapons like that. Like unless you have two preloaded weapons and you're using it specifically so you don't want to reload between the actions. That's like obviously quite an advantage if you do have like a surplus of weapons available to you. But it is it is bizarre.
They have an entire shooting range on their property. It's about 1,800 acres. It's a big place.
That is that is strange though.
Flux says, Wheel of Fortune style, category before and after. I'd like to solve the puzzle. Jeff Mokadick Poon. I'm glad there's like 3 people that know what you're talking about, Flux. I'm just happy to be one of them. Xcomer, did they say how much time this trial will take? Like they set X amount of weeks for it. It's set for a 3-week trial, and this is the beginning of week 2. So we'll have to see how it goes. It could go longer, it could go shorter. But if I were to be a betting man, I would bet on longer. Michelle, again, do you think they will name someone and throw out another theory? No, just leave the jury hanging. If once they name somebody, you'll notice they've never specifically said there's another killer. It was more than one. They haven't said that because once they do that, once they say here is our theory of the case, the burden of proof shifts to them to prove it. If they say he didn't do it, it was probably Meme Copium did it. Now I've made that an affirmative defense, and I have to prove that Meme Copium did it. We need to check Steve's knives. Maybe Steve's knife shot him. I don't know.
I'm quite proficient with a shotgun. So
well, there you go. And see, so that's why they're not naming any. That's why they're not. Once they say specifically, we are arguing that there are more than one shooter. The burden shifts to them to prove there was more than one shooter. So that's why they just use these hints, like okay, perpetrators, murderers, without actually saying there is more than one. Let me bring up this for those of you that are confused as to what the holy hell is going on in this case. Let me bring this up from the link I just sent you.
That was a good one. It was quite succinct.
This is from Grizzly True Crime. I reached out to her, and she gave me permission to use this. And both Andrew and I are trying to get her on our share of the stream. She has to clear it with her PR people. Unfortunately, as soon as there's PR people see what kind of people we are, they're going to tell us to get wrecked.
Grizzly's quite good. Most of my audience recommended her when I was looking at the Idaho stuff. They were often saying that you should talk to her.
Yeah, and I'd love to have her on the stream. Like her PR people want to suss us out first, which is never a good thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll watch 5 minutes of my cursy, drunken, swearing stream and go, yeah, we have to protect her image. Never mind. Let's see here. I'm bigging it. All right, this is the family. And again, this is let me find a place here, get rid of this. All right, let's review here. Again, this is used with her permission. Grizzly True Crime on Twitter. Go over there, check out her stuff. She does Grizzly True Crime stuff. We got the Redhead clan here. Buster, he's the surviving son. Maggie and Paul are the ones that aren't surviving. Let's see. Why are we not moving forward? Move forward thing. Why does it think I want to do that? All right, we'll just let it play. Whatever. Oh, all right. Has StreamYard been wonky for you?
It's been a bit weird lately, yeah.
It's been wonky for me today, and I don't know why.
I thought it was my internet, because I do sometimes have a few issues with that.
Yeah, this is just weird. All right. Anyway, Alex Murdaugh, scheduled to end February 10th. After carefully reviewing this case and all surrounding them, I got to make sure I keep an eye on the court here. I don't want to miss that. Oh, that's buffering too. Oh, Lord. Are we buffering?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yes, we are. Oh, ish. All right.
Are we?
Nope. We were for a bit, I think. Anyway. Right. Sorry, guys. This is just people acting up here. Right. Try. God damn it. Hang on. Let me unboomer myself here. Bear with my idiocy. I'm just an unfrozen caveman lawyer.
Really? Bear with us for the grisly PowerPoint slide.
Oh, yes. And I will be using lots of bear references when I review episode 3 of The Last of Us.
The Last of Us is pretty good. I was watching episode 3 just before I came on. Quite enjoying
this
that
is
show
just
so far.
this is just crazy. This buffering thing has got to stop. For fuck's sakes. I wonder if anybody else's stream is buffering or if it's just me.
That smile on Buster it's one of those smiles that says like, if only you knew how bad things really were. Like it just looks so sad.
Well, all they've got to do is watch my stream and they can see how bad it is because we're buffering here and I'm dying on the vine. Want to see if anybody else is out there in
Maggie's the only normal one here. Everyone else looks like they're really unhappy. Like, why would you take this photo, or why would you publish it? Like, this is why you take several photos when you take a picture. Alex looks like he's staring through somebody's soul. Buster's like hiding some secrets, and Paul just looks like he's confused. Maggie seems like she's having a good time though.
I guess they're back. Whatever the hell all that buffering was, we'll get to the video in a little bit. Damn it, that sucked. I'll have to unfuck myself here and wonder what that's all about.
Maggie actually looks a lot like my mum, to be honest.
Might be time to reset the router again. Have to do that about every month here.
Gotta change the hamster.
Yeah.
That judge's chair looks really comfy.
It does. I love his chair. I totally want it.
My chair is so old and creaky at this point. I need to get a new one. I'm destroying it slowly.
Mine's new but creaky because I bought a cheap ass one.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know. It's just me, apparently. Yeah, and it started like the defense side over here filled up first, and then the prosecution side started filling up last Friday. There's a very blurry woman. Okay.
Oh,
it's Nancy Grace.
Nancy, isn't it? Yeah, the one, the awful one. Did you see what happened when she went to Idaho?
When she set up the table in front of the house, but didn't do anything? They had
no, she set up a table in front of the house, and then the neighbors put in the background where they could see it a big sign that said "F you, Nancy."
Oh, that's beautiful.
Like they actually sabotaged her like live. It was. Hilarious.
I hate Nancy Grace. Well, let's see how we're doing on the like and subscribe. The first check-in, 15% of you said you hit the like and subscribe button because the gods of chaos demand. Hang on, I know how we can do this.
Furious present.
The gods of chaos demand it. 12% of you said you did it because you see the redheadiest of redheads. 20% said Murdaugh will kill me if I don't. And 53% said I did it for the dead chicken. During the first day of testimony, they went off for like 20 minutes with one witness, about 30 minutes with another witness about a dead chicken. And I still don't know why.
Did they throttle the chicken? Is that how they were executed?
Get us out of potato mode. There we go. Nancy Grace is hot. Bad weather biker, one more like that, and I will ban you. We do not permit that sort of talk around these parts. Curb your tongue, Nave.
You have the voice changer on still, by the way.
I know.
Yeah. Just checking. I was going to see how long it was going to take you to figure that out. That'd be funny if we went the whole stream.
Curb your tongue, Nave. Barry White. It's Bone Steel. That's not Barry White.
I see one man in the audience with a yellow tie, or is that one of the defense teams?
That's defense guy. Anybody whose legs you can see are lawyers.
I have it under good authority that you shouldn't wear a yellow tie for a bad event.
Oh, okay.
Exhibit numbers.
9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Today's lottery
17,
numbers.
18, 19.
Bingo!
20, 21, 22.
Oh, you can move the subtitles on
Yes.
YouTube? I never knew that. That's interesting.
26, 27, 28.
Just grab and drag.
All in favor without objection.
So, you took measurements, for instance, let me show you
The Dick Poon measurements.
to begin with, which is of the quail cage.
My sister has wild quails that live in her garden.
Are they California quails?
Well, they're Utah quails technically, but yeah.
Let me
They live in Utah now.
But you know, like the classic California
Yeah.
quail.
Yeah,
I'll
this-
show you
little-
little
chubby little
doodle on
yeah.
their head.
Exhibit
Those things are the most
number 20,
adorable. They have them in New
which is-
Zealand. They're pretty cool.
Worley, page 7, if you could put that up on the screen. You recognize that?
I do.
And what is that?
It's one of the diagrams that I created.
And what's it a diagram
Worlds
of?
apart, my
That
friend.
quail cage.
Worlds apart.
Now, you did that sketch, and that sketch shows, so it says, defect interior side of cage, defect interior side wall of cage, and defect interior back wall of cage, right?
Right.
So you have an entrance and an exit hole, correct?
That's right.
Now, what did you do to try to determine the trajectory on that? Where did it come from?
We placed a flight path rod through defect J all the way through to where it went through the back wall of the cage.
Okay. And let me see. I know I have a picture of that here somewhere.
If you have a picture of it, why did you ask? Just kidding. He has to so he can show the picture.
Is that a big spool of cables they have under their table and some fresh water? Like it looks like they've got like bottles of
Yes.
water and like about 60 meters of cable.
That's exactly what it is.
Nice. I could use some
Is that a
water and
picture of
cable
that
myself.
rod?
Chicken head.
It's one of the many pictures, yes.
No, but I mean, does that picture accurately depict the rod you put through, but from the exterior to the interior?
Yes.
Okay. How about put that up, please? It would be,
We're hitting the Lefroy 10 tonight, folks.
It's a good one.
Oh, by the
I
way,
haven't
this
looked forward
Friday
to
is
it in
the
quite a
F it
while.
Friday. Do not miss F it Friday. Meme Copium will be there. You give me $100. I do shots of whiskey. I'll be buying my whiskey this Wednesday. I have to decide what it is. It'll be a $300 bottle this month.
so you're telling the jury that this is a rod that you ran from that.
It's gonna be like a morning
entrance
stream
hole
for you,
to
isn't
the
it?
Exit hole.
Just start
Yeah,
drinking
and
at
what are
like
you
10
doing
a.m.
right here?
That's where we're determining the angle.
Upward or downward angle?
That's right.
Okay, now let's talk about how you determine the angle of front to back. I don't know what you call that scientifically. I mean, did you determine the angle of that rod?
Always go front to
as
back, I tell you.
The exterior wall of that,
Yes.
okay. And based on the exhibit we saw a moment ago, the entrance wound would have been on the, how about go back to Worley, page 7. The entrance would have been on this side, correct?
Yes.
Now, the feed room, you would agree with me, is not on that side.
Corn Pope, welcome back.
Uh,
Glad to
well,
see you
cage,
here.
correct.
That's right.
Matter of fact, this side faces the feed room, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Now, did you determine, and I can walk through all the technical things you did, but did you only determine the angle, you can check your notes, the angle of the entrance hole over here to that side? That is, what is that horizontal? Am I talking horizontal?
Yes.
Okay, the horizontal entrance and exit wound, if you put that rod through it, what did it tell you about the angle as opposed to that flat area?
We determined it was approximately 41 degrees.
41 degrees. And if I'm standing at that edge, is it 41 degrees to my right or my left?
I believe to the right. I'm not sure though.
Can you look and see?
I don't have that in my notes.
Okay, let me show you a picture. It's worth 1,000 words. Just help refresh your memory.
Yes.
And so, could you put KNWL2019 up, please?
And see, he can go back to his stand to his podium where he should be, but he just lurks around the witnesses.
I kind of move like that when I'm talking. I don't like to stand still. I like to keep moving, especially if I'm like waiting for a train or something.
Okay,
I just hate standing waiting.
I'm just surprised the prosecutor doesn't object about him being so close to the witness.
And then you put a protractor up against it, and then the protractor told you it was 41 degrees from flat or
From the where the bullet went in the wall, from that flat edge to where the angle is was 41 degrees.
Okay, and let me show you KNWL2007. Ask you a question, see if it comes up.
This is all an act, Michelle. I'm totally convinced. Because notice his questions are getting
No, strike
faster
that
and
out.
sharper and more
Well,
precise as he
but
goes along.
That depicts that rod you put from the exterior through the interior, right?
That's right.
And so as that rod sticks out, it would be the path of the bullet.
Approximately, yes.
Approximately, okay. And it's 41 degrees from neutral.
Yes.
Or, I mean, if this were the wall of the wall the bullet went into, it would be 41 degrees would be over here.
Yes.
Right. So that side, right. Okay. And so, and I see from that picture we showed a moment ago, you used a protractor, just like this one, maybe similar to this one, to determine that angle, right?
That's right.
And basically you just you take the rod and then you put this up to it and then figure out what the angle is, right?
You line up the middle of the protractor on where the defect is, yes.
Where the bullet hole is.
Right.
Okay. Now, did you do the same thing for the dog pen, a dog house?
Yes, we did.
And let me walk you through a couple of those pictures. Let me see if I have, okay. Let's go to page 6 of 8 of her report. Is that something you prepared?
It is.
Okay. So if we look at this, could you zoom in just a little bit for me, please? And here we go. So defect 1 is the entrance hole.
It's defect I, yes.
I'm sorry.
Defect I.
Haha.
Okay.
There's a great
And
novel,
defect
I
H is
Defect.
what?
We weren't sure if it was a defect. It didn't go through the wall, but we marked it.
Did you have anything that went all the way through?
Just I.
Just I. But you also stuck a rod in that, correct?
Yes, we did.
And
Taking
what was
good solid sounding?
And the dog, this side of the dog house would be
Must be thinking of a different type of
side
sounding. Never
facing
mind.
the kennels.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the angle?
say you stuck a rod in it.
Angle on that. You put a rod through and measured, just like you did before.
Yeah, so he's put a rod through it and measured it.
And what was
Not
the-
like this.
the
Not
angle
like
on that?
this.
The horizontal angle was approximately 84 degrees.
So 84 degrees. Now, the side the bullet went in was facing the dog pens.
Yes.
And as we see from the photos, approximately, I mean, again, it's just guesswork, but not square with the dog pens, a little bit further to, if you're standing in the feed room, if you're looking at the dog house, it would be a little bit to your left, correct?
That's right.
And then this trajectory into the doghouse is 84 degrees, which means it's coming, if that's the feed room, it's coming from even further over here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let me have you do this for me. If I had a sketch, your sketch of the doghouse and the quail cage, you could take that protractor right there and basically show the line out, correct?
From the quail cage to the doghouse?
No, from the quail cage, the trajectory, if I put down that protractor on the side where the bullet went in, it's pretty easy to identify in your sketch.
Right.
And went to, what was the first one? How many degrees? I'm sorry, I can't remember it either.
Was 41 degrees. 41 degrees.
41 degrees on your sketch. You could follow the trajectory of that bullet out, correct?
Yes.
You do the same thing on the doghouse.
Right.
Okay. Wait 1 second.
Was there any suggestion of motivation for this, by the way?
From the prosecution, his
Yeah.
life was coming to an end, and in order to gain sympathy ahead of his impending federal prosecutions for about 100 different crimes, he made it look like his family was murdered. Plus, she wanted a divorce, allegedly. And his son's crimes were building up. And he's kind of in a bad place. It's sort of the
Not a
deal.
great plan.
Well, neither was the shit that got him into the 106 felonies and murder charges he's been charged with either. You know, he hasn't made a lot of great choices.
He
In
can
life.
at least try and fake his own death or something. Come on now.
Well, he did. He paid his cousin to try to do a drive-by and actually
Yes.
literally kill him, so that his son would get a $10 million payout on the life insurance.
How about do me a favor and keep?
Well, I mean, yeah, but you
his-
disappear. You have to disappear if you try and commit.
Well, no, his cousin missed and just
So-
grazed his head with a bullet. And so then he had to kind of think up a really quick
Step down.
story for 911, and that whole thing quickly unraveled, and they both admitted to it.
They admitted to it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Get this oriented correctly.
That's. I guess if you get hit in the head, you don't make the best decisions. But admitting to it's not gonna play over well. If I had to guess.
Was the doghouse on this? Okay, I'm disoriented. I'm looking at it upside down.
To summarize, while the mom and son had to stand off, he shot the quail through the doghouse.
If you
Kinda, yeah.
this protractor,
Oh, F's in chat for the poor quail boy. So
that
sad.
old thing that allows you
She is a big lady.
Okay, if you take it and let's go
Sturdy.
from the quail. Oh, here it is, small animal cage. And the projectile came in on this side over here, correct? Okay, so if you'll come over here for me, please. And put the put the protractor against the, there you go. And how many degrees did that go?
41 degrees.
Okay, could you put that on 41 degrees?
F for Dan the quail. Nice.
Poor boy.
41.
Okay, and could you take that line out for me, please? Is there a way for you to draw that? This is a.
Oh yeah, he checked into a rehab for an oxy addiction during all of this too.
Really?
Yeah. which is tied to his
That's
possession,
an
manufacturing, and
unfortunate
distribution
comb-over.
thing.
It's a real unfortunate comb over. Just shave it, dude.
Yeah. He's applying the black spray to it there, so we don't know.
Now,
I mean,
Scotus
really.
Dog house. What
That's
was the
bad.
degrees on that?
There's like no angle that looks good. Oh no.
Okay, 84 degrees.
It's a parody of a guy with a comb over.
It is right. Like, oh no.
Okay.
Maybe it's part of his tactic.
I'd
Maybe
like
he
the
gets
whole
people to
line for
underestimate
that.
it because of that will distract
On the
them in
side
court.
of the
Like, you know how magicians always have a lot of rings on, so you look at their fingers instead
Yeah.
of what they're actually doing.
See, this is where the defense always messes around with. Like, they take a ridiculous amount of time to deal
Now-
with evidence, and
I'll take that easel now.
so much time is wasted. And what is with this spray paint? What are they spraying? Keep hearing like psh noises.
There for a second.
Maybe they're. Oh, I don't know. Comb overs in the wind are funny as hell. Comb over in the wind. Yeah.
Now,
They're setting up for their Jeopardy board, maybe.
Is it just me? Can anyone else
so
hear
correct me if
like,
I'm wrong.
the sounds of a spray paint can or something?
It sounds
Or is
like
it just
construction,
really-
construction work is going on
And
somewhere.
you look at, well, you look at this.
Or is it some really fat person with like
Um,
an oxygen tank?
The feed room door is approximately right here, correct?
That's right.
Would you circle that with a red circle for me, please?
Oh my God, we've been going on for an hour about the quail hutch.
Okay. And the trajectory on both these shots. So let's take the small animal cave. Did that come from anywhere?
Small
near
animal
here?
cake. What? I love closed captions.
It would have been up if you follow that out.
They're
Are you
usually pretty
familiar
good,
with where
but there's
that
some funny ones.
Are you familiar?
grapevine was?
There where the dumb grapevine
If you look at
was.
feed room all the way to the right.
No, I haven't seen that.
Well, it's, I think a little bit further up than that. But even
The
maybe
dumb
beyond
grapevine.
that, one of the shots fired by that AR blackout was fired from somewhere way up here, correct? I mean, that's the
Is
trajectory.
that true?
I can't tell you the distance it was from them.
That's really interesting if true, folks.
Wherever, I can't tell you where the shooter was within that line.
But that line is way away from the, right?
Right.
And this one, while it's closer, it's still many feet away from the feed door. So as you saw this area right here that night.
Who is
you
the lady in
assume,
the
I think,
red
not
dress?
assume, but everyone sort of concluded that it was
It's a
close
Krista
shot
Berg
into the
song.
feed room that killed Paul, correct? 2 shots.
Lady in red.
Now the AR.
In the middle on the aisle.
Yeah,
At least
on
this
the,
line would indicate the AR.
That
was
might
right
be,
away from the feed room when those 2 shots were
That might be
fired.
Chanley Painter from Court TV.
Okay. Now you recovered these projectiles. Were they tested for blood or tissue so that you could determine whether they passed through Maggie or just were missing?
I submitted it to the lab. I don't-
You don't know whether they tested them or not. If I told you they didn't test them, would that surprise you?
No.
Now, does this lead you to believe, and you're someone that processes crime scenes, I mean, if this had been sketched out the night of the, I mean, you didn't take these measurements till a month later.
I took these measurements on scene the night of.
Oh, so you had these measurements?
Right.
But did you know the degrees
No, that I didn't know.
until July 12th? But on July 12th, did anyone go back out and walk this line to see if maybe there's shell casings way up here? No one looked up there, correct?
Not what I learned.
Okay, and no one did a topographical study to indicate, if you follow these lines back, whether wherever a shooter could have been were higher or lower than the doghouse or the small animal cage, right?
Right.
But doesn't this indicate to you there were 2 shooters? There was a shooter up here and a shooter down here? Is it a possibility? Let me say this. Is it a possibility that there are 2 shooters based on the data you collected?
It just indicated there was movement to me.
Movement from here all the way up to here?
I don't know that it went all the way there.
But is it, I'm not telling you, I mean, one explanation would be movement, correct? One explanation would be two shooters. I'm sorry?
I
Yes?
wasn't there.
No. But one explanation of this data would be two shooters. One explanation, not the, but one.
Not the only one.
Yeah, not the only one, but it is a reasonable explanation, just like.
Ooh, reasonable.
one shooter
That's a
running
key
up
word
that
there.
way, correct?
Is she stifling a laugh from him?
So one of the reasonable explanations is there are two people there. There are two guns there. One's a shotgun, one's an AR. And we now see that AR is being shot from way up here, correct?
I can't see that, no. It's somewhere along that line.
And that line goes a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen yards from the feed room, if you follow it straight up.
I don't know where they were within that line.
Could someone have been a lookout there? They went there to kill Paul, and that's a lookout. Maggie surprised them. They thought she was gone.
How do you want
Reasonable though, right? Right?
to-
I know you weren't there, but none of us were there. We're trying to figure out what happened that night. And clearly, one reasonable explanation is two shooters. One explanation.
One.
Right, and a number of them.
She doesn't want to admit that, but she has to.
So hypothetically, if there was two shooters, one
Like
is
obvious,
Murdoch
Devin.
and the other is a mystery person, but that would still implicate Murdoch, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
For
it's
whom?
not to scale.
For which one?
Talk to the court. I'm with you.
I'm sorry. Your Honor, I'm offering this into evidence.
You'd have to prove which one he did. Or
No objection, Your Honor.
could have been somebody else altogether, two other people. But yeah, see that right there at the end, right when he gets in his flow, and all of the dumb lawyer stuff, all of the shuffling, doddering old man, all of the misspeaking goes out the window, and he hammers them on these points. Don't get confused by that. But that was a brilliant bit of lawyering right there. But when he says he didn't say, could it be an explanation that there was two shooters? Because doubt doesn't mean any, it could have been an alien from Mars coming down in a spaceship and laser gunning them to make it look like a shotgun, correct? Well, yeah, that's an argument. That is an explanation. It's not fucking reasonable, but it's an explanation. But they have to prove that it's beyond a reasonable doubt. So he specifically used that word. Could it be a reasonable explanation that there were two shooters? Yes. Now in closing arguments, he's going to say the head criminologist admitted under oath that it's a reasonable possibility there was two shooters. You have a reasonable doubt because the criminologist said so herself. That's how he's going to argue that. You're going to say, sorry, Josh, I
was wondering if they go on long tangents for like a long time just to wear people down and then kind of lull them into a false sense of security. I was wondering how often lawyers do that. It's really frustrating because I've only done jury duty once, and it seemed like that's what they were doing. It went on for about 3 days, and that felt like forever.
You testified it was 80-something degrees, right?
84 degrees.
It's not 90-something degrees?
I had 84.
I bet he's got something that says it was 90 degrees. While he's indulging himself all over the table, X-Comer says, did they say how much time the trial? I already read that a long time ago. Yeah, 3 weeks. I wish I was drunk. How are we? I'm a bit shook from drink myself. Well, I'm joining you.
A drink would make this trial go a lot faster.
You'd think so, but it doesn't. It just really leaves you with a mean and nasty hangover the next morning. I tried it. Nicholas again. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me show you defense.
He is having her say, I don't know a lot. Yep.
19 and 22. Are these the actual protractor measurements you did that?
Of the animal cage.
Okay, both of them are of the animal cage?
Yes.
Okay. And did you do the same measurements?
Well, rain was coming. It started raining while they were waiting for the big authority. That is a really bad outfit that dude's got on. Holy crap. And to match his hairstyle. You know he hasn't changed that
On
hairstyle
the
since 1950.
Doghouse.
Yes.
Wow.
What does that
Yawning.
indicate?
Look at that. No yawning in the
A
court,
storm was
please.
blowing in, so the storm may have cooled it off from 90
what is the
to
angle based
84
on
by
that?
the time she did the
Not
measurement.
really. $80-something.
Okay. You have in your notes, let me see what you have in your notes you recorded.
Wow, what is up with the fashion in this town? That should never happen. That right there.
That is a very
And that's-
colorful shirt.
where's your full report?
This is all
They
the
should
notes.
swap jackets.
Yeah, I'm looking for the sketch though.
The guy in the back behind that lady looks like he's wearing scrubs too.
I thought it was like a bowling
Really
shirt.
baggy shirt.
That's the son. That's the surviving son.
Okay, where's the doghouse?
Cameraman's like, get out of the way, old man. That is some red ass hair.
It's like my brother's
a
hair,
color
like that. But
not
his
seen
is
it.
a lot longer.
Your brother's hair?
Oh, yeah, my brother is like a redhead. My
What does
mother
the horizontal
too,
96
and,
degrees mean?
No. Half of the people in my family have red hair. My beard
not sure
comes in
why
red
it
too,
says
so
96.
I only have half a
I'm sorry?
soul.
I'm not sure why it says 96 if I had 84.
Oh,
In your crime scene notes?
That's right.
oh, interesting.
But you wrote down, your official report said 96 degrees.
My note said 84 degrees.
Well, did you just? The notes were taken at the scene?
Yes.
Okay. Beg the court's indulgence.
So there's a 12 degree difference between her notes and what she put in her official report. And I don't know if it doesn't really have anything to do, I would believe, with proving guilt or innocence, but it does show she's kind of confused and incompetent, perchance. I don't know.
Let me move on to a different area. Let me say this to you. Based on your calculations, both of those shots came well to the right, if you're facing the feed room, well to the right of where the feed room is, correct?
Thereabouts.
I'm sorry?
Thereabouts, yes.
Thereabouts? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
So I'm
I guess
trying
they're
to look
talking
for
about
some
trajectory
concise,
degrees.
You're a criminalist. You would agree with me that they did not come from
You
the
would
feed
agree
room.
to me that I
City
misunderstood
of
the
feed
question.
room, and they're literally yards away from the feed room, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not going to beat that, of course.
This is why I wanted you to be on here, Flux,
Let's
for
talk a
fuck's
little bit
sake.
about footprints. Okay?
I was blinded
So,
and
I
confused by
noticed in your
Buster's
report,
hair.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that you were unable to identify either exclude
These
or
degree
include
problem wouldn't happen if you
a
used the
number
metric
of
system
different
like me.
footprints in and around the feed room, bloody footprints, and other footprints because of the quality of the photography. Is that correct?
I was able to attribute them to Paul's shoes.
I'm sorry.
I was able to attribute them to Paul's shoes, though.
Well, we'll talk about Paul's shoes in just a minute. But when you, what's the process to take a photograph of footwear or imprint that's recognized by a number of different agencies, including the FBI? What's that process?
Place a scale, and preferably an L scale, around the impression and document it with the camera parallel to the surface so you get a straight on shot. Put the camera in raw settings so you capture all the data with that photograph.
Hey, they're talking about stuff I know about now.
So let me ask you, so the process is, first of all, you take a
I hate
general
when I ask people to send me
photograph of the
pictures and they send me
impression,
raw
right?
format. Like,
Yes.
thank you for sending me the
Doesn't matter
123
what angle.
megabyte picture.
Doesn't matter what the lighting is at that
A
point.
I love
64K
Just
JPEG would have been
documenting
good.
That it's there.
I
When
shoot
you go
raw.
to take a
Everything I
photograph
do is raw.
of a footprint for forensic analysis later on to compare it to a known shoe, you're supposed to do a couple things. One, you're supposed to have good lighting if you can get it, right?
Preferably.
Two, you're supposed to put a scale down next to it so that later on you can, because
That's what she just
you need
said,
to
dude.
understand how big or how small the foot is. And
It's good general photography tip as
distance
well.
between
Always
the
have something in
threads.
the
So
scale.
the scale's a little, like a little ruler, just a piece of a ruler that you put down next to it to get some idea what an inch looks like, what 2 inches look like. And that's really important, is it not?
It
He
is
knows
to
what
make
2
sure it's
inches
the
looks
scale.
like.
Okay. And then you're supposed to do a photograph straight down on it.
He's photographed
with the
2
camera,
inches
good
before. You
lighting,
know he has.
so that you can you understand what you're seeing is a straight on impression, correct?
That's right.
Now, was that done on any of the impressions that y'all analyzed?
No, we didn't recognize on scene.
I'm sorry?
We didn't recognize on scene that there was footwear.
You didn't recognize on scene there was what?
Footwear impressions in the room.
Seems like a bad.
Well, that brings up another topic. There was what may have been a footwear impression on Maggie's calf, correct?
I couldn't say that was a footwear impression, just an impression.
Well, there was something on her leg that could have been a footwear impression, correct?
Possibly.
Possibly. And again, they didn't put a scale. They didn't do any of this procedure.
This is
correct?
Inception. We're talking
And
about
it was in
impressions
dirt.
of impressions.
Yes.
So, or mud, one. And so once her body was removed from the scene, that examination could never be done, correct?
That's right.
Matter of fact, none of the impressions could be examined after the next day at best, correct?
Not physically.
Right. I mean, we couldn't go back out and take new photographs.
Are they going to use an auto seance or something to find the data? What do they mean by not physical?
So the procedures
That'd be cool.
followed were not the procedures recommended by every agency.
Just give the old man a pen, let him do like some
If I had
automatic
realized
writing.
that was footwear on scene, I would have documented it properly, yes.
Okay. But since it wasn't documented properly, we can't include or exclude, except for Paul's, correct?
That's right.
Now, are you a certified footwear examiner?
Yes.
She
By
worked
who?
at Payless.
Well, within SLED, yes.
I'm sorry?
Within SLED.
Within SLED. But
She's a hype beast.
Peer reviewed.
She's
or
got the
Oh, yes, I am a peer review.
by somebody at SLED.
Yes.
Okay. And your analysis is that one set of those footwear impressions is Paul facing the back of the feed room, right?
Right.
And yet we know, and they're bloody, so he's already been shot.
Right.
And we know the initial shot came buckshot, very small pattern, in his chest and came out underneath his left arm. Matter of fact, there was wadding under his left arm, and buckshot went through the back window and embedded in the windowsill. You documented that, right?
Right.
And then I think some of it embedded in a tree back behind that window, correct?
I think, yes.
And he's facing backwards, bloody footprints. Has anyone discussed with you how he got faced away from where he was shot?
No?
Huh.
Were the footprints smudged?
A shotgun blast could have spun you around.
And there was blood dripping. He was stepping in the blood and leaving his own footwear impressions in the blood. I don't
Yeah, if
I
you're
don't know that
reeling
it was
from the pain or
smeared
something.
necessarily.
they're not.
Well, we also know that a second shot, literally his head exploded, his brain flew out. We know there's hair and blood all over that door up high. There's actually hair and blood and pieces of his skull in the ceiling and around him. Assuming the first shot would not have been immediately fatal because it didn't hit any critical organs, he would have been alive for some period of time after that shotgun blast to the chest. But the second shot, as you've seen in the pictures, and you were there that night, wasn't his brain laying at his feet?
It was beside his left leg, yes.
I'm sorry?
It was beside his left leg, yes.
Yeah. And his feet are one of them is just inside the feed room and the other's not.
Yes.
And he's face down.
Right.
So you can't explain how he got shot in the front when he's at some point soon thereafter is facing backwards.
I can't say which way he was facing when he was actually shot. The second shot, he was right there at the door. I can tell you that.
So he got from facing the back door after he was shot, the back window, to facing forward for the second shot. Is that right?
Right.
Has
I have
anyone
no
from
idea.
SLED
I have no idea. He keeps harping.
briefed you on after
He
you
gets
identified those
really
footprints?
graphic about the brains.
They
And I don't know
didn't ask for
why
any
he would want to
explanation?
do that.
It's got to wake up
Not
the
for me,
jury
no.
after that first line of questioning.
Okay, and you would agree that because of the way the scene was processed, that most of the footprints you were unable to do any comparison to because of the way the pictures were.
No, I was able to do a comparison with, and they were mostly Paul's shoes.
Other than those two?
There was one right inside the door. There was one further to the left where the door was. Then there were at least two by marker one.
And correct me if I'm wrong, at least one of those bloody footprints initially identified as Paul's turned out to be a police officer's, isn't that correct?
Not, it wasn't initially identified as Paul's, no.
But there was a bloody footprint near his that turned out to be law enforcement, correct?
Yes,
In the feed room,
right.
in blood. Is that preservation of the scene that your standards require?
Not exactly, no.
Not exactly. Should the police be walking through the scene?
No.
Do we know what other evidence they may have destroyed?
I have no idea.
Oof.
That's right, we don't. Now,
Again, that's not testimony you want to have come out. Flux says they're spraying an aerosol to show the laser at the degree the shot rod is to show the bullet
have
trajectory.
you seen this photograph before? Can you identify?
I also studied forensics when I got my criminal justice degree. Bullet trajectory and blood spatter are my favorite. I still might pursue forensics.
It's not one that we took.
Thank you, Flux.
But does it appear to be in the area you've been describing?
Close, yes. It's in the feed room.
So you don't know whose feet those are?
No.
Flux says, I'm not just a layman. I've studied. I mean, a legal layman, someone who's not a lawyer,
Did you
because that's your
check
deal. You
other
ask normal questions.
Foot impressions in the feed room and exclude Paul?
No.
There were other bloody footprints or impressions in the feed room. Did you identify them as Paul's?
I thought I accounted for all the ones that we knew of.
Okay. Now, make sure this is not already in evidence, Your Honor. Can we look at defense exhibit number 2, and we need to cover the screens?
Ooh, they need to cover the screens because that means there's some seriously graphic stuff they don't want to show people. They don't even want people in the audience to be seeing it.
Those pizza boxes they put in front of them? With like the cheese stain on the outside.
But I mean, wow, how bad are these pictures? They don't even want people in the gallery to see them.
I mean, have you ever seen what it happens to a human body when it's destroyed by something like an impact?
Shotguns, yes. I went down that rabbit hole back when those
pretty
nasty websites would come up when they started getting
So,
popular.
We've talked about this previously. Just a
Did see a
moment
guy that
ago.
got his face cut off by the
I'm gonna
the
put it-
stabilizing rotor on a helicopter in real life, though.
Okay, do you recognize this photo?
That was
Yes.
that was one of
Is
those
that the
things
way
that I
you-
was afraid of as a kid. Like
Saw Maggie
quicksand and
there?
helicopter
It is.
blades. I thought there'd be a
Now,
bigger
how
problem in
about
life
zoom
than they
in
were.
on her calf? Right, right there. Yep.
Quicksand was mine.
Yeah. I
Now,
thought there'd just be quicksand everywhere when I
somebody-
grew up, but there.
even that night,
Yeah,
we see
none
in
of it
those
there.
Shocking
that
lack
may
of
be-
Mm,
Could
sad.
be a footwear impression, or could be something else, correct?
I couldn't determine what kind of impression it was. No.
Okay.
Then it's
But you
either
would
he
agree
walks
with
free
me,
or it's a
there
hung
is
jury and
something on the
they
back
do
of her
another
leg that
trial.
has some sort of pattern in it.
It is, yes.
Okay. Not naturally occurring pattern.
Right.
And this is the only photograph you received that
Yeah.
night, or you received ever, of Maggie's calf, correct?
That's not the photo I used at all.
I'm sorry?
That's not the photograph I used at all for my footwear examination.
What photograph did you use?
Conjunction junction, what's your function? Good song. This trial makes me prefer work.
I was thinking of the Family Guy variant of that song.
420.
420.
Okay.
You got it? Okay, put that one up, and then we'll see if you can identify it. Is that 420?
This made me think of that episode of Velma I was reviewing where they keep saying 420 over and
We'd
over.
like to offer photograph
Such a
420.
bad
as
sorry.
evidence, Your Honor.
I'm sorry you
So
had to
bad.
watch that.
It's so bad.
No objection.
You have no
Just
idea.
asked to see the photo before.
Yes. Ugh.
It's
It just gets worse
Yes,
by the
he
day
did.
as well.
Thank you.
Yes, Vic Morrow
don't
did,
have it.
filming The Twilight Zone.
We'll get it. Do we have a, Holly, we got a hard copy of that? Thank you. We'll get it to you in just a minute. But, so, can you come down here for just a second, please? Yes. How about point to the jury where that impression is on her leg?
This whole area right here.
And it has, if you blow it up, you can see some regular lines as opposed to irregular, right?
Yes.
Which would indicate some not natural, but when I say unnatural, man-made something caused that, correct?
There's a distinct pattern to it.
Okay.
Nature
Now,
abhors
were you able
right
to-
angles.
Why were you not able to get
The truth.
significant definition to compare it to a
Yes, sir.
footwear?
I felt like I had enough definition. I just couldn't attribute it to any type of footwear.
Any type of footwear?
As far as any type of shoe, I wasn't able to attribute it to a specific type of shoe.
Oh
Okay,
no.
now,
Pitfall
and you would
made
agree
me
with
the
me,
sandbox was going to kill
no
me after it
scale.
rained.
Right.
there's
Pitfall,
no
great game.
multiple pictures of this from different angles for the purpose of giving you the more definition so you can make a comparison, correct?
There's not.
So this was not done according to procedure.
I mean, I didn't know about this on scene.
Yeah, but as your photographers take pictures, aren't they, I mean, wouldn't it be good just to put down a scale, no matter what?
If I had seen that, we would have.
But I mean,
Somebody had.
a lot of these photographs are taken without you present, correct?
No, I was there.
You were there for that photograph.
Yes.
And did you notice the mud on her leg?
No.
But as you look at it now, you agree that a better photograph taken under the procedures of SLED and the FBI and everybody else could have given you a better ability to match it to a piece of footwear,
I
correct?
don't know that a better photograph would have given me better results. I think I saw enough of it to know I wasn't going to be able to attribute it to a type of footwear.
Without a straight-on shot, without a scale, without all the things recommended.
I couldn't even say it was a footwear impression. I just called it an
But
impression.
based on that photograph,
Yes.
which is not a photograph done to compare footwear.
Not ideal, no.
Not ideal. It's not, the standards say that is not within the standards, correct?
Objection, argumentative.
Finally. Ooh, he's like that young goth chick
Yeah,
is
that's the
scolding
question.
me.
Go ahead.
You understand what the question is.
The question is, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You understand the question.
Yes.
What's the answer?
It would be better to take the photograph properly with scale.
Oof.
But you would concede.
That looks like
this
he's
was
really
not
sweating
taken-
or something, like or
So,
even crying.
What you're saying is,
He,
no one
yeah, he
appreciated
was
the fact that it
weeping.
was
He weeps
a
occasionally.
footwear, or could be
Oh,
a
okay.
footwear impression that night.
He's probably sweating
So
too.
No one treated it like a piece of footwear.
Right.
But we know that same night, they didn't
Sun
treat
must be coming in from the
any
window.
suspected footwear according to procedures, correct? No scale, no multiple pictures, no 90-degree, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and take a stand.
She wants to be anywhere else than right there.
So, you see what I'm on these pictures. Did you participate in processing Alex's T-shirt, shorts, and shoes?
The T-shirt and shorts, yes.
Okay, and what did you do with that?
As far as the LCD,
Yeah.
we documented the entire process from start to finish, starting with the packaging that the shirt was in. Took the shirt out of the package, photographed it front and back, inside and out, to show how it was before we did anything to it. Then we hung it up and applied the LCV, which is a liquid spray. Any stains that we saw after using the spray, we documented those with photographs without scale, and then we photoed with the scale. Then we laid the shirt flat and photographed each of those stains on the shirt. It was stains A through H on the front and stains I and J on the back. We labeled those A through H, I and J with scale and photographed each one of them.
See, it's interesting that both sides are trying to use the fact he had perfectly clean clothes as evidence that he either did it
Let me show you a couple photographs.
or he didn't do it.
That's the first thing that I'd do if I did do one of these things. I'd burn whatever clothes I was wearing and change into something new and shower. Have you ever seen the movie Fracture?
Doug, 19A, please.
Old show, right? Like ancient.
No.
Yes.
It's got Anthony Hopkins and Ryan Gosling.
Not that night, no.
When did
no.
you see it?
When we
It's a good movie. You
processed
should watch it.
That's a
I
lab.
really like it.
Okay. So you would agree
I'll give you a
with me
synopsis in a second.
that this shirt has, it doesn't look like it just came back from the laundry. It's got smudges down here and generally.
Because he
stains here,
admits to
correct?
finding the bodies and then
Not
being concerned about a
completely
murder
clean.
others, so he went
Yeah, okay,
home
let's
and
say
got a
it's not
shotgun and came
completely
back to the
clean,
scene of the
correct?
crime.
Right.
And then I'd offer that into evidence, Your Honor.
31.
Tell me what this is, please.
After we had sprayed the shirt with LCD, we laid it in a grid to account for where on the shirt each stain was.
And there
It
seems
was
to
all
be
around the crotch region.
something on the bottom that looks like a handprint, does it not?
I didn't see a handprint. That was on the body cam footage where he was wiping his face with the shirt right there.
Offer this into evidence. Can I have that 19, I'm sorry, let me see what it is. What does it say at the bottom? KNM 3282. Okay, and we agree that you did this with LCV, right? That's what they call a presumptive test. It could be human blood. It could also be animal blood. It also could be detergent.
Objection, Your Honor. Could we ask one question at a time?
I'm trying to summary, but I'll do it.
Okay.
Could it be something other, something other than human
Coom
blood?
stains galore.
It doesn't determine whether it's human or not.
Right. So it could be animal blood.
It's possible.
Could be detergent. Detergent oftentimes.
Not bleach, maybe.
Bleach, okay. What about organic matter like plants?
The only two I know of really is bleach and rust.
Rust?
Right.
Okay. But there are other things that will, and that's why you do a confirmatory test.
Right.
And that's done with hemotrace.
I'm not sure how. I don't do that part. So.
But do you know what the results were when they treated it with hemotrace?
Not sure. No.
You never saw the report?
No.
No human blood found? Okay, now, did you test his shorts?
We did the same procedure with the shorts.
And there's some presumptive, some indication that it was human blood or something else, correct?
Yes.
Do you know whether they ran a confirmatory test on that?
I'm not. I assume they did. I'm not sure.
Well, but you don't know.
Right.
Do you know did you use LCV on the shorts or did you use something else?
We used LCV.
Okay. Did you do the shoes?
No.
Huh. Huh. Yes, it was just covered in chicken blood. They were performing some big Santeria ritual, and it's got to be what happened.
Beg the court's indulgence for one moment, please.
Well, he's indulging. We'll indulge in some more flux. We all like a good fluxing. In my opinion, it's over. As soon as he said it's reasonable doubt for 2 shooters, boom, done. All this other stuff is just a waste. Am I right or no? Flux. My gut is telling me to go with that. That's what I'm thinking. He's going to harp on that big time in closing arguments. The criminologist, the head criminologist, the one that's there, that's responsible for taking the measurements and making sure all of this and collecting all the crime scene evidence, has said herself that it's a reasonable possibility that there could have been 2 shooters. The prosecution's own witness thinks that there is reasonable doubt that there was 1 shooter. My gut is telling me it's done. He's walking. That's my gut.
Have you seen? You said you didn't see the movie Double Jeopardy, right?
I don't think so.
That's a really fun movie. So what happens is the husband like fakes his own death, and the woman goes away for murder, and she gets convicted, and then she breaks out of jail, and then finds out that the husband's alive. But since she's already convicted for his murder, she gets to murder him for free because he's already been convicted and can't be convicted again.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's an old one. It's like an old classic movie. Like, should do like a lawyer movie reaction night or something. We watch Double Jeopardy and Fracture. Fracture's, I really like Fracture. It's kind of the wife is having an affair, and the guy, Anthony Hopkins, has an elaborate plan to murder her and get away with it. It's absolutely great.
Cool. All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's got. I think Double Jeopardy has Tommy Lee Jones in it. I think it came out around the same time as like The Fugitive and things like that.
What's the strategy behind the emphasis on the nasty details? I don't know. Again, the only thing I can think of is what Michelle says.
Okay. And I think she can.
He's just going to say it was so gruesome that no father would ever do that to their son. That's the only thing I can think of.
Number 217.
But we know that can happen.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Not very bright.
Schoolhouse rocks. Knowledge is power.
You took?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, we'd offer this picture into evidence.
No objection.
And while they're doing that really quickly here, Rosie O'Donnell says, what if they ping him at his mama's house? They did ping him at his mother's house, apparently, from what I understand, like going and coming. But what the prosecution is saying, he murdered them. And shortly before he left for his mother's house, both of their cell phones went forever silent.
On this?
So they're saying he killed them and then did this whole thing to create an alibi for
Yes.
himself.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we all were singing from the same sheet of music, even though you wrote down 96 in your report, correct?
In my diagram of that, yes.
Right. The official report, the official.
My official notes say 84 degrees.
But I'm talking about what we got. But I mean, we got your notes also, but in your printed.
Asked and answered.
On the diagram, yes.
Yeah. But it's only 84.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. So, and again, maybe I need to check you on this, but the angle from the doghouse, you seem to indicate is going still to the right of the dog kennels. But let me check it out. Just one second. Sure, you got this right.
And I'm extremely happy that today was the first day not wearing a mask indoors in Korea for 3 years and 5 days.
Wow. Congratulations.
No, let's stand for
But-
a moment.
As you can probably guess, literally, I was the only person I saw today that wasn't wearing a mask. Literally.
Interesting thing about the Japanese constitution is they can't actually force people to wear masks. So it's always just been a public obedience thing. Like they just do it because it's like the group thing. But if you don't
And
want to wear a
100%
mask
of them
in
do it.
Japan, you don't have to.
But everybody does.
The only people I don't see wearing masks at the moment are usually the cute girls who want their faces to be seen. Sometimes the cute girls are wearing masks if they don't want to do their makeup though. But
Yeah,
otherwise,
that's
most of the
real.
maskless people in Japan are now the tourists.
Yeah.
If you're outside, it's a lot. Nobody really cares. I mean, if you don't wear a mask, nobody's going to tell you to put one on at the moment. So you can kind of just do whatever you want.
Okay.
All right, that was the end of our little stretch time.
Okay, we'll proceed.
But like the weird thing is even though I was perfectly able to not wear a mask inside a building or in an elevator, I was literally the only person I saw today without a mask was me inside of a building, and I felt like I was doing something wrong.
My reckon is that Japan and Korea, everyone will stop wearing masks in summer when it gets really hot. Like when it goes like 30 degrees Celsius, people are going to drop them. Nobody's going to wear them after summer.
A lot of people have started wearing them outside now because it keeps their faces warm.
And there's some other diagrams.
All right, redirect.
Prepared. What was the purpose
This is
of
my
you
girlfriend.
preparing all these diagrams?
I love that
Show
voice.
For that one, where the evidence was in relation to each other, where the victims were in relation to the evidence, where the kennels were and the workshop overhang, measurements, all the other diagrams, the doghouse, animal cage, were to show more measurements of where the bullet defects were.
Would those be done for reconstructive purposes?
That's right.
And was that really done here on this case?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And in this diagram,
I love her voice.
if it's exhibit 29, we see
I'm not
Smash or
doing it.
pass, folks.
2, 3,
Smash or pass
4,
for Beetlejuice
5,
Winona
6,
prosecutor.
and 7. And what were those? What did those indicate?
Those were 300 blackout cartridge cases.
Yeah.
And this is not to scale, is that right?
No, not at all.
So what does that mean if something's not to scale?
It's not like an
Totally
inch on there.
Beetlejuice
It's not
Winona.
an inch in real life. It's just an approximation
There's a
of
breakout
where
of
everything
Warhammer
was
figures.
in
This is
relation
a
to each other.
1/16 scale, you see.
So
It's
it may
the
not
size of a Space
correspond
Marine.
to the actual dimensions of things on the scene.
Right.
It's okay. I'm no longer paying attention to the witness.
Now, are you aware
I'm
that
focusing
there
on the
was
questions.
stippling on the victim, Maggie Murdaugh?
Yes.
And what does it mean if there's stippling on a victim?
It's a close gunshot. She was shot close range.
And the defense asked you about some different possibilities here. It's possible that people can move around,
Yes.
and it's also possible that one person could have had 2 guns.
That's right.
I want
She
to hear them
should
ask the
somehow.
question. Is it not
All
possible
right.
that he could have been holding one gun in each arm, like some sort of
There was
badass?
a lot
And just go-
about footprints.
Like someone who'd seen
Possible,
Boondock
sure.
Saints.
See
Impractical.
here.
Not quite practical, but pretty cool.
See, even though she gave another reasonable solution of somebody moving around or in using 2 guns, it
Hey,
doesn't.
you can fire a shotgun with your toes.
Yeah,
as I understand.
lots of people do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's the
You could
fact
have
she
ended up
did
with
it.
4
In the
shotguns.
feed room, was there a bunch of bloody footprints?
There were.
She didn't get her to say it was unreasonable to assume that there was more than one shooter. They've got to bring it. They've got to do that somehow. Say, was there any evidence whatsoever that there was another unknown person present at that location? They've got to get this. They have to get that testimony out of her somehow. they've got to make this reasonable. Her admission that is reasonable possibility that someone else could have shot him.
Have a moment.
Something's got to happen.
Hey, Pineapple, I didn't say it was practical. I just said it was possible, and that's all that you have to do. Establish the doubt.
Is it reasonable doubt? That's really the only question. And
It
I've
would
seen
be
Boondock
unreasonably
Saints, so I
awesome.
know it's possible. Oh. She's so hot. Anyway.
They have both. They have both the murder weapons, don't they?
State's Exhibit 35.
35. Tay in the wind. Sorry, back into Nell mode. You got me on Nell mode tonight. Dang it, guys.
Did they have the murder weapons with the fingerprints on both of them, the same set, or
Are those
anything like that?
the bloody footprints in the feed room?
No,
Two
no
of them,
weapons recovered,
And those were determined to be the footprints
or
of
just
Paul
no
Murdaugh?
fingerprints?
Right.
And now, just to be clear,
I can't remember.
in
Don't
this
don't
picture,
question
we're
me.
seeing
I think they don't have the murder
like
weapons.
5 sets of other bloody footprints.
That's going to be an issue.
No.
It's going to be a problem.
So you talked about some other footprints in the feed room. Could you kind of elaborate on that?
Closer to
12
the
feet.
door, there was one, and also closer to the door, the actual
No weapons.
physical
Okay.
door, there was one, a partial impression.
And did you determine who those footprints belong to?
Those were consistent with Paul's shoes.
And is it possible that after SLED took some crime scene photos and moved Paul's body, that someone could have come in along later and stepped in?
Your Honor, we
Objections overruled.
Is it possible that if there were more prints in there, that those could have been after SLED's pictures were taken?
speculation.
Objections overruled.
I suppose so, yes.
And we also talked about footprints in states 194 and 195. Why couldn't you do anything with those footprints?
I was not made aware of those footwear impressions until June 15th, when I saw one of those photographs.
So you didn't take any of these pictures while you were out there at the scene?
No, it was on the other side of the workshop.
And we have no way to know when these footprints occurred.
Right.
Now, the defense showed us a picture of that dirt on the back of Maggie Murdaugh's leg. Do we even know if that's a shoe print?
No.
Yeah, taken by her.
As long as they're taken by her.
Agent Farley, if you could please take a look at States Exhibit 70 and 71. Could you tell us what those are pictures of?
These are pictures of the front of the ATV that was parked near Maggie's body.
Your Honor, the state removed 70 and 71 into evidence.
Okay.
Admitted without objection.
Huh.
Did you freeze for a second?
So if we look here at Defense Exhibit 9, can you point out where the ATV was there the night of the murders?
That photo was taken on July 16th.
But where were the photos or the ATVs on the night of the ATV on the night of the murders?
Under that overhang behind the doghouse.
This time I'm going to publish States Exhibit 70. Where was Maggie Murdaugh's body in relation to this ATV?
Would be toward the right of the ATV.
So it was kind of in front of the ATV?
Yeah, yeah.
And did you observe any kind of biological matter on that ATV?
Yes.
In States Exhibit 71, could you kind of point out or describe for the jury where you can see spots of biological matter?
Do you want me to step down?
Your Honor, may she step down?
Might take this opportunity to step down myself. It's almost 1:30. Need to get to bed.
Yes, I know. I got 90 more minutes to go. Andrew should be here in about 30 minutes.
Was it tested?
Thanks for having on.
Thank you so much for popping in. We'll see you tomorrow, I hope.
Hear the question before I can hear an objection.
Take care. Everybody go to Meme Copy and make sure you subscribe to everything he's ever done.
Please
Well,
point
subscribe
out
to
for
his
the
channel and
jury
like everything
where
he's
would
done.
appear to be biological matter or tissue on that ATV.
Object to the question. I object to the response because it was never tested. It appears, and it could be deer blood. It could be a number of different things. This calls for speculation.
Objection is overruled.
So sit down, old man.
These areas right here, a little there. I believe there was a little bit on this tire also.
Thank you, Agent Worley.
She's grumpy. She's in a grumpy mood.
That's all for this witness, Your Honor.
All right.
Further cross-examination.
Well, you would concede, I mean, if you saw that,
Here you go, prowling on her again.
but you not, I mean, it looked like blood.
Yes.
Did you test it for blood?
No.
Gather, swab something so you could take it back to the lab and see if it was Maggie's blood, Paul's blood, deer blood? I mean, they hunt in those ATVs, right?
I have no idea what they do in those.
You don't know if they hunt using ATVs?
How would you know?
Is that one of the things you're aware that's done with those?
I am now, yes.
How would you know that?
But
Come on, where's your
the night you saw
objections?
that blood, you didn't take a swab of it, or whatever you thought was blood, didn't swab it.
No, it didn't.
And matter of fact, there's a pool of water around Paul. Did anyone ask you to take a sample of that?
No.
Determine whether or not there was human blood in it?
No.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at your shoe report. You specifically say on a number of these that the photograph is inadequate to do a comparison, right?
I was able to, my result was, it was adequate enough to determine outsole design. I
I'm
couldn't,
sorry, adequate to do what?
to determine the outsole design of the impression. I wouldn't have been able to identify it.
Okay, on Paul's, the ones you've already said he was facing backwards, did you say that you had partials and at one point you didn't know which way the foot was facing? Did you say that?
I'm not sure.
Did you come to any conclusions about any of the other, I mean, did you match his footwear to any of the other bloody impressions in that feed run?
Yes.
Which ones?
The one by the door, like right in front of the
What's
doorway.
the number of that?
And Legal Mindset should be joining us here in about 30
105.1.
minutes.
I'm
Somewhere
sorry.
between
Item
30 minutes and 90
105.1.
minutes, he'll be here.
Facing the doorway.
It says that the outsole design is consistent with item 103, Paul's shoe. So you also say that the way you got scale was, and some of these were evidence markers, and then you figured out how big the evidence marker was, and that's what you used to get to scale.
The marker and the shot shells at markers 9 and 10 were measured.
And that's not the best way to do it, is it?
No.
And in terms of the sketch we had, a pretty crude sketch, but have you ever been asked by SWED or the Attorney General's office to do this trajectory analysis that I asked you to do today?
No, but I don't necessarily do crime scene reconstruction.
Who does?
I'm not sure. We don't. necessarily do that ourselves. We process crime scenes and document it, but we don't do reconstructions.
But no one has consulted with you about a reconstruction. No one's come from SLED and said, let's go over these angles, or, how did you conduct this? Or nobody's asked you.
No.
Have you ever had a conversation with anybody from the Attorney General's office about this?
No, I don't think so.
Did they ever talk to you about the video we showed a little while ago, of the process y'all used to try to make a 3D?
Not with me, with others who rendered the Pharaoh software, the video.
They talked to people that did the Pharaoh?
Yeah, I believe so.
What?
I believe so, yes.
Do you know who that was and who they talked to?
No,
Do you know when that was?
not really, no.
So they'd have a 3D image of the crime scene, and you don't know when they got it or what they did with it. They never talked to you about it.
No.
It's not her duty to know.
Thank you, court's indulgence.
Woof.
Step down.
Wow, that was long. Yes, like Friday and today. But telling you, getting her to admit it's reasonable to conclude there may have been two shooters, that's
We go
pretty
to the
damning.
jury room for a 10-minute recess. To not discuss the case.
All right, a 10-minute break. Wow. All right. Well, we've got 10 minutes. So what do I want to do during this 10 minutes? I want to do during this 10 minutes what I couldn't do during the last 10 minutes. But first of all, we have a super chat from Bass. Dead Chicken is MVP. Sorry. The Dead Chicken is the MVP. And Nicholas Starr of Union Rep. Jodie Foster meets Greta Thunberg frowning. Kind of looked like that. Yeah, we had that and a couple of Grumpy Cat references. Yeah. Wow. Flux was saying she thinks they're done because of that that statement about the reasonable conclusion of two shooters. That at a gut level, unless they can come up and produce some very specific evidence to say there's no possibility or there was no evidence found of any other person at the crime scene at that time, then it could very well be a done deal. That was damning. The prosecution has to prove things beyond a reasonable doubt, and the defense just got a very, very big admission that it is reasonable to conclude there may have been more than one shooter. That's rough. Wow. We'll just have to see. It's Now to bring this back up again here. This is the overview of this case. For those of you that aren't sure exactly what's going on, that have deleted this. This is from Grizzly True Crime, used with her permission. Alex murder trial, January 23rd through February 10th. Supposed to be a 3-week trial. State Attorney General Alan Wilson said, after carefully reviewing this case and all surrounding facts, we've decided to seek life without parole for Alex Murdaugh. So they're not going for the death penalty. They're going for life without parole. He's pleaded not guilty to the 2 murder charges. Dick Harpootlian, Dick Poon, is his lawyer. Quick facts. July 8th, 2015, the body of Stephen Smith was found on Sandy Run Road in Hampton County, South Carolina. His death was ruled a hit and run, but is being investigated. The Murdaugh family, and we listening to the dash camera recording from the police car. He pronounces his name Murdaugh. It's not even Murdaugh. He pronounces it Murdaugh. So we'll start calling him Murdaugh. The Murdaugh family came up 46 times in the investigation. So investigating this hit and run case, the Murdaugh family name came up 46 times. Stephen told his mother that he was dating a son from a powerful family. Buster Murdaugh was apparently friends with Stephen. Stephen told his mother that he was dating a son Flux, we need your gaydar. Tell us what are your vibes about Buster? Was Buster dating the dead guy? We need some Flux input on that. Valhalla says, "See, I told you he was gay." Well, it's not gay until Flux says it. I only believe that if Flux tells me. Apparently, Flux has made her decision. Friend, sure. What have I done? Oh, there we go. So, February 26, 2018, Gloria Satterfield, 57, the family housekeeper for almost 25 years, trips and falls to her death at the Murdaugh residence. Alex tells her family to sue him. He said, sue me, get the homeowner's insurance payout. So she mysteriously trips and falls. The police have said there's no indication of any foul play involved in the death of the housekeeper whatsoever. But he tells the kids to sue him so his family, the homeowner's insurance, can make the payout. But when they do, the insurance company pays him, and he's supposed to give the money to the family. Well, he just pockets all of the money, about $4 million. February 24th, 2019, Paul Murdaugh crashes a boat after drinking. Mallory Beach dies after being flung from the boat, and it took 2 or 3 days for them to find her body. The judge has approved a settlement to be determined. It's a $50 million lawsuit. My understanding, I can't even remember what I heard rumors about, but and then again on the 19th of April 2019, Paul Murdaugh was charged with 3 felony counts in connection with the deadly boat crash. He pleaded not guilty. Well, Paul Murdaugh is no longer a defendant in that case because he's dead. Yeah, he was the one that Dad wiped out, left Buster alone in the family. And June 7th, 2021, Paul and Maggie shot at the Murdaugh hunting property. Alex Murdaugh has been accused of their murders. Here's a little bit of a timeline. And again, this is from Grizzly True Crime. Just go straight there if you want to see the Twitter. This is pinned at the top. Alex Murdaugh asked his wife to meet him at their Moselle estate in Islandton, South Carolina. She wanted to meet him somewhere else, but he insisted they meet there. Their marriage had seemingly hit rough patch, and Maggie had been staying at the family's beach house on Edisto Island, 30 minutes away from the family's estate. So they've got beach houses, estates, hunting properties, all these things. They're effing rich. Alex asked Maggie to meet at their hunting property and then go with him to visit his father, who was about to pass away. He died 1 week after the murders. Maggie asked if they could meet at the hospital, but Alex insisted that she meet him at the family estate. So he really wants to meet her there. But she texted a friend and said that her husband was, quote, up to something, and that his behavior was fishy. When Maggie arrived at the estate, she left her car running and walked to the dog kennels on the estate with their son, Paul. Alex Murdaugh's narrative is that he was not at the location of the murders. Paul's son's phone captured video and audio that proved otherwise. Opening statements from the prosecutor. Yeah, he said that he'd seen them about 45 minutes before they were allegedly murdered. But the video, the audio and things that they caught from Paul's phone showed that he was there minutes before the phones were forever locked. So he was there very, very shortly before the murders occurred. The prosecution would say he was there until after it occurred. So both victims were shot at close range, Maggie with a rifle 5 times, and Paul with a shotgun twice. Approximately 8:15 p.m., Maggie and Paul arrive at the Moselle property. 8:44:55, Paul Murdaugh records a video at the kennels, and Paul, Maggie, and Alex Murdaugh can be heard in the audio of the video. Alex's phone is not active during this time. Not active. Kind of sounds like Brian Hamburger, doesn't it? So yeah, his phone's not active, but he can be heard on someone else's cell phone video. 4 minutes later, Paul's phone locks forever. 39 seconds later, Maggie's phone locks. So within 3 minutes of Alex being heard at the scene, both Maggie and Paul are shot and killed, and their phones are locked forever. All right, we are back in court, it looks like. Or hang on, nope. This is still Court TV yakking on, doing their thing. I got psyched again. Got rickrolled by Court TV, the bastards. Apple won't unlock them. No, apparently Alec knew the code and he gave them the code to unlock the phones. 9:02 p.m. Alex's phone calls Maggie's phone. So this is after her phone has been locked forever and ever and ever. He calls Maggie's phone. He then calls his father, then Maggie's phone again. 4 minutes later, he turns on his car and texts Maggie, "Be right back. I'm going to check on my mom." His mom suffers from Alzheimer's disease. So apparently, if we look at this time frame again, there's the timeline again here. 8:40. He's there he's there being recorded at 8:44. 8:49. 5 minutes later, the phones go dead. But see, you're looking at this here, 8:44, 15 minutes later, he turns on his car and texts Maggie, "Be right back. I'm going to check on my mom." The prosecution is saying they're dead by now. He drives to Alameda, is there for 20 minutes, and then is back on his way to the property at 9:44 p.m. And he makes more phone calls on the way back. Yeah, the prosecutor is saying that this is to build an alibi, even though they were already dead before he left the property, is what the prosecution is saying. So he arrives back on the Moselle Road at 10:01 p.m. and calls 911 to report that Maggie and Paul have been shot. He then leaves to fetch a shotgun for protection and returns to the property. So from the dog kennels to his house where he got the shotgun is about 1/3 of a mile. So it's about 2/3 of a kilometer. So going there and back is nearly a mile. It's about 1 kilometer to go to the house, get a shotgun, and come back. When the officers arrive, he immediately tells them about the 2019 boating case. Yeah, that was literally the first thing out of his mouth. We're going to listen to that probably a little bit later, probably on another day. Oh, and what I'm going to do, by the way, guys, is I'm going to start my stream 30 minutes early tomorrow. We're going to go over this again. We're going to go over some of the interrogation video. We're going to do a little more of a backtrack, a little bit of a catch up, a little bit of a review. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. We'll start 30 minutes early at 9 a.m. Eastern. Paul was shot in the head and chest with a shotgun at close range. And Maggie was shot multiple times, once in the back and multiple times when she was on the ground with a .300 AAC black rifle. It was later discovered that Paul's cell phone was found at the scene while Maggie's was found on a road a distance away. In June, Alex and his son Buster offered a $100,000 reward for information about Maggie and Paul's murder with an expiration date of the end of September. How weird is that? We'll give you $100,000 if you can tell us anywhere, but you got to do it within about the next month. Otherwise, we're not going to pay you. ALEX MURDAUGH has been indicted on 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. Alex said on June 25th, just after the murders, "I want to thank everyone for the incredible love and support we've received over the last few weeks. Now is the time to bring justice for Maggie and Paul. Buster and I, along with Maggie's mother, father, and our entire family, ask that anyone with helpful information should immediately call the SLED tip line or Crime Stoppers." He makes his public appeal. And let's see how Court TV is doing. All right. Court TV is still doing their review, so the court's not back in session yet. Alex's dad died in the hospital 3 days after his wife and son were shot. On September 3rd, 2021, his law firm exposed his financial crimes, which included stealing millions of dollars from the clients. On September 4th, Alex staged his own assassination. He hired Curtis Edward Smith, a client, also his cousin apparently, to shoot him in the head while he was changing a tire. He said the motive was money. He wanted his son Buster to receive $10 million life insurance policy on his name. Now, here's the interesting thing. A lot of insurance policies, life insurance policies, will have these suicide clauses that basically say if the person commits suicide, then you don't pay out the life insurance. So, because they don't want people to take out a bajillion-dollar life insurance policy and then kill themselves and make you immediately have to pay the life insurance policy. But the interesting thing is apparently and this is just what I've heard. I haven't actually seen this, so I'm just passing speculation. But I've heard that his insurance policy had a 2-year suicide clause that said that if they deleted themselves within 2 years of the policy, then it wouldn't cover. And more than 2 years had expired, apparently, since the policy was taken out. So if that is true, he wouldn't even have had to have paid his cousin to delete him. He could have deleted himself and they still would have paid out the insurance company. If all that is true. So he staged his own assassination. He said the motivation was money. 2 days later, he checks himself into rehab, saying he had an opioid addiction and had resigned from the law firm. He faces charges for conspiracy to commit insurance fraud and lying to police for this incident. Curtis was arrested and charged with assisting Alex in an attempted suicide, among other crimes, to which they admitted to those. And then just a few days after that, Alex Murdaugh turns himself in the detention center. He's charged with insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, along with filing a false report. He's been charged with, I believe, 106 crimes, including these murders here. On September 18th, 2021, he was ordered and held on a $20,000 personal recognizance bond. October 14th, he's arrested on charges that he stole insurance settlements totaling more than $4 million intended for the sons of his late housekeeper. 3 weeks later, all assets are frozen. 2 weeks after that, new charges, stealing $5 million in settlement money related to the boating accident his son had. That was the number I was trying to remember, the $5 million. So he's gone. He's got like about $9 million that he's just stolen from these people, plus the millions he's stolen from his law firm. And then he's charged with murder of his wife and the murder of his son in July of this year. So a little over a year, a little more than a year after the murders occurred, he was charged. All right, we are back in court, folks. So we'll pick this up at some other time, probably either the lunch break or later tomorrow. Because again, we're going to start an hour or 30 minutes early tomorrow, so that we can do a little more background stuff. And by the way, again, you don't want to miss F It Friday. Our Fuck It Friday stream is going to be great. We've got some guests lined up. We're going to try to line up some more guests. You just bring your money. That's all you got to do. Bring your $100 shots. You throw $100 at me, I do a shot, or we get less than $100. The less than $100 shots, the smaller shots, they add up to $100. I take another shot of another whiskey, and we just have a grand old time. We try to grift as much money as possible that day, so I don't have to talk about super chatting the rest of the month. I'll be choosing my premium whiskey at about the $300 range on Wednesday, and so that's what'll happen Friday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Friday night. So there you go. Bring your money and throw all of it at me at once. Let's see how much we can get.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, I have addressed your concerns.
Oh,
And you may call your next witness.
We call Senior Special Agent Jeff Croft.
Senior Special Agent Jeff Croft.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the Bible. Do you affirm the testimony about the guilty in this trial shall be the truth so help you God?
Yes, assuming it's K-R-O-F-T.
Say your name again for the
Oh,
record.
she's got a
Spell your last
spider.
name.
She had like a spider
Jeff
nest on her head.
Croft, C-R-O-F-T.
Ooh, I guessed K.
Senior Special Agent Croft, how you doing today?
Doing well, sir.
So your beard's about as gray as mine is, isn't it? Sir? Your beard's about as gray as mine is.
Yes, sir.
Is that how you get to be a senior special agent?
I don't think so.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up? Where are you from? And then tell
lawyers
us a
should
little bit
never
about
tell
your career
jokes
law
in court.
I grew up in Barnwell County. I started my law enforcement career in the
All right.
early 2000s as a reserve deputy with the Barnwell County Sheriff's Office. I got hired full-time, started on the road. I did
That's
road
really,
patrol.
really loud, isn't it?
I then
It's
went to
deafening me.
investigative services, investigations, where I worked narcotics and violent crime. In 2012, I transferred over to SLED, where I worked in the Low Country region.
How's
in
that?
investigative
Is
services.
the
I was
court volume
assigned,
too low? Let me know what you think.
to this area for investigative purposes, working.
Okay, do I need the court louder or the
homicides,
court softer?
Violent crime, financial cases, all sorts of stuff.
Okay. And how long have you been with SLED?
I'm going on 12 years.
Where were you assigned back on June 7th, 2021?
I was assigned to the Low Country region here in Colleton County.
And were you summoned, called out to respond to the reports of the 2 deaths at 4147 Moselle Road?
Yes, sir, I was.
About what
Okay,
time
so
did you
the
get a
balance
call?
is okay with my audio.
I got called
General
out
consensus.
on actually June the 8th, the morning of June the 8th, about 5:30 that morning.
Okay. And where did you go from there?
I was en route to the scene. I was rerouted to our field office here in Walterboro, and given instructions from there.
Okay. And having been given those instructions, what'd you go do to help the investigation? What's the first thing you did?
I located and interviewed Rogan Gibson.
And did you have a conversation with Rogan Gibson?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you ask Rogan Gibson about whether or not he had phone communications with Paul Murdaugh the evening before?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you ask him whether he had phone communications with ALEX Murdaugh the night before?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you ask him whether or not he had communications with Maggie Murdaugh the night before?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you ask to see Rogan's cell phone?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did he allow you to take screenshots of some of the records on his cell phone?
Yes, sir, he did.
All right, I'm going to show you very quickly what's been marked as exhibits 165, 166, 167, 168, 169, 170, 171, and 172. And just generally tell me if you recognize those particular exhibits.
Oh, God, I don't know how loud to make it. That's too, obviously muted is not loud enough. Let's leave it there and see how you guys tell me. Man. Because to me, his audio is just absolutely deafening.
Yes, sir, these are the snapshots which I took of Rogan Gibson's phone.
Okay.
Oof. Bad wrestler biker demands a poll. Nancy Grace, smash or pass. We don't need to waste anybody's time with that. If anybody says smash, they need to be banished to outer darkness.
Your Honor, this time I will move into evidence exhibits, states exhibits 165 through 172, I believe without objection.
They are admitted.
All right.
All right, now I'm purposely going to talk over them, and you tell me how the balance is, because this guy's
Up, please. Let's see.
volume is totally screwing up my balance.
Not great, is it?
If he says something.
All right, I'm going to put up on
Okay,
the
I'm
screen
talking
states
over
exhibit
him.
165.
Am I a little bit? I should be a little
Is this
bit
one of
louder than
those,
them.
images,
Let me know how it
we're
sounds.
just talking about from Rogan Gibson?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, and whose hand is that holding it up? Do you know?
That is Rogan Gibson holding the phone for me to take the picture.
All right, and where was he manipulating the phone for you and then showing you when he found things and then you taking a picture of it with your phone?
Yes, sir, he was.
Okay. And does this reflect a incoming call from Paul at a particular time?
Yes, sir, it does.
What time does it reflect that call?
at 8:40 PM.
All right, and this is going to be on June 7th, 2021?
That is correct, sir.
And how long does it reflect that call was?
Approximately 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Hmm.
All right, let's look at the next one. I'm going to publish what's been marked as State's Exhibit 166. And is this another screenshot that Rogan showed you from his communications with Paul Murdaugh that night?
Yes, sir, it is.
And does it show an incoming call from Paul Murdaugh to Rogan Gibson?
Yes, sir, it does.
And what time is that call?
8:44 PM.
8:44 p.m.?
That is correct.
I'm going to show you next what's been marked as Exhibit 167 to your testimony. And is this another screenshot that was showed to you by Rogan Gibson from his communications with Paul Murdaugh?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. And were these some texts between the two of them?
Yes, sir, it is.
See, he
All right.
he
Does
leans
it
into the
reflect
microphone.
a text from Rogan to Paul on there.
Yes, sir, it does at
What time is that? I'm sorry, go ahead.
8:49 PM.
8:49 p.m. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And can you read that text?
He literally does this every time he answers a question.
See if you can get a good picture of it. Marion wants to send it to a girl we know that's a vet. Tell him to sit and stay, and he shouldn't move around too much.
All right. Does it reflect any response from Paul?
It does not.
All right. What is the next communication on this particular exhibit?
It's a little got glare on it. I can't. It looks like 9:58 PM.
All right. I'm going to bring the exhibit up because I know our Elmo's not working great. I'm still working on that, but let me actually have you look at it. So we said there was that communication to Paul from Rogan, and then you said there was no response. Is that correct?
That is correct,
And
sir.
then next thing is Rogan sends a text. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
What time is that text?
9:58 PM.
9:58. What does he say?
Yo. Y-O, yo.
Yo. Yo.
I'm going to put up on the screen State's Exhibit 168. Can you see that all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And does this reflect a number of outgoing calls from Rogan to Paul, trying to get him to answer?
Yes, sir, it does.
Can you tell the jury the times, starting at the bottom, that he's trying to call Paul Murdaugh without an answer?
At 9:10 PM, there's a 2-second outgoing call. At 9:29 PM, there's a 1-second outgoing call.
Oh, Lord, that's bad.
9:42 PM, there's a 1-second outgoing call. And at 9:57 PM, there's a 4-second outgoing call.
All right. I'm going to put up on the screen State's Exhibit 169. And does
I
this
tried
also
to call him,
reflect
yeah,
an
for
outgoing
1
call
second.
from Rogan to Paul that is unanswered?
Yes, sir, it does.
And what time was that?
10:08 PM.
That's actually pretty important because he said he
All
tried
right,
to
we're
call
now
his son
looking at State's
repeatedly.
Exhibit 170.
Apparently he did, but he
Bring it
he
up.
let it ring for 1
See you real
second,
quick.
1 second, 4 seconds,
Who
and
does
2
this
seconds.
reflect communications with, between Rogan, Gibson, and who?
Mrs. Maggie Murdaugh.
All right, let me go publish this real quick.
But there was service, and it did connect. That's why there's a record of it.
All right. So it's from who?
Miss Maggie Murdaugh.
All right. And Rogan sends her a text, is that correct?
Yes, sir, he does.
What time does he send that text?
9:34 PM.
And what does he say?
Tell Paul to call me.
I'm going to publish what's been marked as State's Exhibit 171. Can you see that all right?
Yes, sir, I can see the time, but I can't see the top of it.
Okay.
Okay. that's
All
it.
right. And
Yeah.
who are these communications from on Rogan Gibson's phone?
Mr. Alex Murdaugh.
The defendant?
That's correct.
All right. And were there missed calls from ALEX MURDAUGH?
Yes, sir, it is.
And can you tell the jury what times those were?
At 10:21 PM and at 10:24 PM.
And then finally, State's Exhibit 172. Are these additional missed calls on Rogan's phone? Or outgoing, missed calls?
Yes, sir, it's missed
Rogan's
calls.
calls went
Where are
to,
they
to email.
I can't see the top from that.
To voicemail, sorry.
Mr. Alex Murdaugh,
Okay. And what time were these missed calls from Alex Murdaugh to Rogan Gibson?
10:25 and 10:30 PM.
Did you ultimately interviewed Rogan Gibson, is that correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
Without going into what he said, he told you what his communications and what he did that night and all the rest of it, is that right?
Yes, sir, he did.
Was there anybody with you when you interviewed him?
Yes, sir, it was.
And who was that?
Special Agent Katie McAllister.
Katie McAllister?
Yes, sir.
Did you take a buccal swab from Rogan Gibson?
Yes, sir, I did.
And tell the jury just really quickly, what is a buccal swab?
Buccal swab is used to get a DNA standard or a known standard that can be used by our lab to compare to potential other evidence. It's a cotton swab, which we use on the inside of the cheek, very non-intrusive. Once we get it, we seal it. That with evidence tape is transported to our lab for our lab's use.
Okay. 1 second.
Okay.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 154 and see if you recognize this document.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Tell me what that is. Tell the jury what that is, please.
It's a chain of custody form that we used when we secured the buccal swab from, our buccal swab from Rogan Gibson.
All right. Put that up on the screen. And so right there, is that where it says what it is?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And whose signature is that right there?
That is myself.
And then whose name and signature is that right there?
Melinda Worley, Special Agent Melinda Worley.
Okay. All right. After you had that interview with Rogan Gibson, what's the next thing you did in the case to assist the investigation?
I went back to the scene where I briefed Senior Special Agent David Owen and the others that was assisting with the investigation. I was asked to go to the residence, the Murdaugh residence, which was down from the kennels.
All right. And what was going to be your goal in going to the residence?
I went to the residence to secure any firearms or ammunition, spent shell casings of that nature that would be potentially compared to or similar in nature to what was at the scene.
Did you go by yourself? Did you go with a team?
It was myself, Anthony Sampson, and Katie McAllister, both of which are special agents.
Right. What was your particular role or into this team? What was going to be your main job and why you were picked to be on this team to go in the house looking for firearms evidence?
I have some knowledge of firearms and ammunition, and my main duty was to attempt to locate any firearms that were capable of firing similar ammunition that was at the actual crime scene. Any spent shell casings that would be similar in nature that could potentially be tested back to a firearm if one was located or tested in comparison to the casings which were at the scene.
Had you been advised by other investigators what types of weapons or what ammunition had been used to murder Maggie and Paul?
Yes, sir, I did.
And can you tell the jury what you had been advised?
I'd been advised that it was a 12 gauge shotgun used, capable of shooting 3-inch Magnum. I was also advised that there was a 300 blackout rifle, or excuse me, it's an AR rifle chambered for 300 blackout.
12 gauge and 300 blackout.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Bear with me 1 second.
We see the chicken's phone records. Rogan lives next door. They're like the neighbor. I don't know if it's immediately next door, but they're neighbors. The sons were friends with Rogan Gibson.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 160 to your testimony and see if you recognize that particular disc.
Yes, sir, I do.
Tell me what that disc is.
It's a disc of my body-worn camera recording from the day of the house entry.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 159. See if you
Well, I say they
recognize
want to
this
kill the
particular
gay one
disc.
to avoid the hate crimes.
Yes, sir, I do.
And leave him alive.
What's on that?
This is, again, a recording of my body-worn camera for the house entrance.
All right. And why are there two recordings of body cams? Why do we have two instead of just one?
After the initial entrance to the residence and some initial items being secured, I stepped outside to speak to the investigative team, which was up at the kennels. And then I walked back in the house. While I was outside, I noticed some items on the ground that needed to be secured. So I walked back in the house, got Anthony Sampson, Special Agent Anthony Sampson, to accompany me outside to collect those items.
And what were those items? I'm going ahead and let's jump ahead. What were those items you ultimately collected out there?
It was 300 blackout shell casings, which appeared to be weathered at the bottom of the stoop, entered to the entrance of the what I call the gun room, and in the flower bed on each side.
All right. And when you say cases or casings, tell the jury what we're talking about. What is a case or a casing as opposed to the whole cartridge? Can you explain that to the jury, please?
More of
Cartridge
this again.
case is what's ejected from the weapon once it's fired. It houses the powder, the primer, the bullet on the end, which is the projectile, which leaves the end of the barrel. It's basically just the housing that holds the firing mechanism in a shell or in a casing.
And in a semi-automatic weapon, once the bullet is fired, what happens to the casing?
In a semi-automatic weapon, it is ejected.
It's ejected.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if nobody picks it up, it stays right there on the ground, doesn't it?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
I'm just gonna fucking walk
All right,
away
this
under its
time I'll
own
move
power.
States Exhibit 159 and 160 into evidence.
That old bullet, that old shell casing, it's just gonna lay there on the ground all by its little self until you pick it up. Isn't that right?
We don't object to the video of either one. And there's one longer video that's in the house, I know 159 and 160, that we would object to the audio portion being played. And
Okay.
And you're right, I have no problem with that. I'm going to play that particular video with the audio down because there is discussion with other witnesses who will testify who were in the house. And so that's acceptable to the state for that particular exhibit.
Mr. Griffin?
yeah, that's acceptable,
All right.
as long as there's no hearsay from the witnesses.
You said the audio is down, so it's admitted under those conditions.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and to catch us up on the super chats, Michelle Caverneau is talking about the $100,000 reward with an expiration date. I didn't know that. How can a reward have an expiration date? If you want to find the killer, you find them with no time limit. That doesn't smell kosher. Does seem a little bit odd. You'd have an expiration date on your reward to find out who killed your family. But hey, stranger things have probably happened out there.
And for the record, 159 is the exhibit. We'll play with the audio down.
Thank you.
Can I get the input changed, please? To the laptop?
Not really. Great. So not only do we not get the video, we don't get the audio of the video. So we're just going to be sitting here in quietude. Barbara Vance Kaiser Pineapple 300 suppressed would be super quiet. In a suppressed bold
so
action.
Special Agent Croft,
but there's also shotguns.
We don't have audio on this. We might just kind of narrate it for the jury while things are happening, okay?
All right, sir.
All right, let's do that. All right, what's happening right now?
We are walking up to the side door of the residence, which enters the gun room.
And just real quick, we see that side stoop right there?
Yes, sir.
And what was found right there, if anything, by that stoop?
300 blackout casings.
Is that what you just were talking about?
Yes, sir, it is.
Right there, huh?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
They found rounds. Sorry, I just missed grounds.
Who is that individual right there? Do you know?
Attorney Lee Cope.
Who's talking to him?
Special Agent McAllister.
Billy Joel McAllister.
I'm gonna move it forward.
Had
Going
a
in the house a little bit.
happy
Where are we now?
We are inside of the residence at 4147 Moselle Road in the gun room.
Who are you shaking hands with right now?
That would be Attorney Mark Ball.
All right, who's getting their hands shook right now?
Mr. Attorney Ronnie Crosby.
Now, you mentioned Lee Cope and Mark Ball and Ronnie Crosby. Who are those individuals? What, if anything, is their relationship with ALEX Murdaugh?
They are law partners were law partners with Mr. ALEX Murdaugh at PMPD.
Do you know what ALEX Murdaugh did for a living?
He was a trial lawyer, and he also was a prosecutor for the 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office under Solicitor Duffy Stone.
And what does a prosecutor do?
They try cases for the state.
Criminal cases.
Criminal cases.
I thought he was just a civil lawyer. That's the first I've heard that he was also a prosecutor.
That is correct.
Huh.
I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit.
I wish they'd all fast forward a little
What's
bit.
that sort of in the center of the screen right there?
That's a gun cabinet or gun shelf.
What's going on right now?
Special Agent McAllister is explaining why we are there, kind of what we're looking for, and gaining consent to search that area.
Was consent ultimately obtained to search?
Yes, sir, it was.
Yeah, because I know he handled a lot of civil cases as well. But I know his father, grandfather, and great grandfather were the solicitors, the prosecutors. That's just the first I've heard that he himself was a prosecutor. So.
Let me back it up real quick. All right, at this point, are y'all having a conversation with people who were there? I'm not trying to get into the conversation, just were you having a conversation?
Yes, sir, we were.
All right, and who are the two individuals you're talking to, or three individuals you're talking to right there?
Ronnie Crosby on the right, Mark Ball in the center, and Mr. Lee Cope on the left-hand side. Agent McAllister standing with her back turned.
At some point, did Mark Ball point to anything?
Yes, sir, he did.
And what did he point to?
A 300 blackout rifle, which was sitting in the gun wall.
Did Ronnie Crosby point to it? Let me back up.
Like this, all the hearing gunshots and things. The chances of the neighbors hearing gunshots. I don't know. It's an 1,800 acre estate.
Yes, sir.
All right. Then whose body cam are we looking at right now?
That would be mine.
Where are you going right now?
I'm walking over to the gun wall or gun cabinet in order to get a better picture of what Mr. Ball is pointing to.
Is that it right there in the middle?
That is it, yes, sir.
All right. Right. What is Mark Ball pointing to right now?
He's pointing to the numbers which are displayed on the bottom of the magazine.
All right. And is this the blackout we're talking about?
That is correct.
All right. Did you look at that particular magazine?
Yes, sir, I did.
What, if anything, did you notice about that magazine?
The magazine stamped with 223.
All right. Is 223 the same ammunition as 300 blackout?
It's same in length. 223 magazine is capable of housing a 300 blackout round.
A blackout round is a particular size of ammunition, and a blackout gun is a gun that's been modified to fire that particular shell.
What are the differences and what are the similarities between those two rounds?
Here they're talking about right now.
They both can be fired from the AR frame. It's the 300 blackout is actually approximately a 30 millimeter projectile, a little bit larger bullet than the 223. Has a little more kinetic energy and a little more stopping power than the 223. The 223 is a faster bullet, a little flatter trajectory. It does not have the stopping power that the 300 has. But because the 300 is a larger bullet, and trying to use it in an AR frame, it's neck down. So you don't have quite as much speed coming out or velocity coming out of the barrel than you would with a 223.
What is it you just said though? A 300 blackout has more of
stopping power than the 223.
And stopping power. What does that mean?
It has more impact than the 223 round would have.
Impact. Okay. All right.
Well, we will shut this poll down.
What else are you looking for right now as you look through the
guilt or
other
innocent
firearms
poll
on that particular gun rack?
Any additional rifles capable of shooting a 300 blackout, and also the any 12 gauge shotguns which are capable of shooting 3-inch Magnum.
Let me ask you this: did you find any other weapons that could shoot 300 blackout?
No, sir, we did not.
Did you ever find any other weapons on ALEX Murdaugh's property that could shoot 300 blackouts other than that one that was in the gun rack?
No, sir, we did not.
We're going to talk more about this in a minute, but did you find some 12 gauges?
Yes, sir, we did.
Overwhelmingly, 54% of you said you hit the like and subscribe button because you did it for the dead chicken. No chicken, no justice. No justice, no peace. Therefore, no chicken,
All right,
no
what are we
peace.
looking at right here?
That's to the right of the gun wall or gun cabinet. It's various ammunitions for different type of weapons, shell casings, just parts for the gun wall.
Okay. And you're having a conversation with who right there?
Attorney Mark Ball.
As a result of that conversation, was Mark Ball pointing to things?
Yes, sir, he was.
Specific things?
Yes, sir, he was.
Did you ultimately come back and collect some of those things?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, guilty, not guilty. Still making up my mind. Poll is up.
I'm going to fast forward to about 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Keep this thing moving.
So take that poll. Let me know if you think he'll be found guilty, not guilty, or you're still making up your mind.
Right there. What's that right there?
That is an empty box with the label S&B 300 BLK.
All right. Did Did you ultimately collect that box?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 213 and see if you recognize that item.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, stand by for me real quick.
See, Valhalla, I worded this very, very carefully. Not do you think he's guilty or not guilty?
213 in the
Do you
evidence, I
think
believe
he will
without
be
objection.
found guilty or not guilty? I'm not asking what you all think. I'm asking what you think the jury is going to
I'm going to
do.
show it to you again. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Does that box reflect the grain weight of the bullets of that ammunition that were inside of it?
Yes, sir, it does.
And what is that?
147 grains.
All right, and tell the jury, what is 147 grains, or just grains in general when it comes to a bullet? What does that mean?
It's the weight of the projectile.
And it's possible to have certain ammunition of the same caliber, but it has different weights. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
All right. And this blackout is 147 grains, correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Box. What are we, like an F1 pit crew telling somebody to pit?
Sorry.
What is that?
Can we, no, that's fine. I'll show it later.
Jessica Reloaded just woke up. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome to Monday. I hope you have a relaxing, wonderful, eventful, and fun-filled
Let's go ahead and do that. Can we switch the
Monday.
input just real quick? I'm going to switch it right back. I just want to show this to the jury, please. All right. Everybody can see that? Maybe if I did it this way. All right. And that's the empty box you found in the gun room?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
All right. And right there, is that the grains that you were
I
talking about?
like the way you think.
Yes, sir, it
Step
is.
down if you need to, see what I'm pointing at.
I can see you, sir.
All right.
And Jessica Reloaded
Can you read that right there?
has just been monetized on her channel. Yay. Welcome to monetization.
Yes, sir, I can.
And what does it say?
Cellular and looks like bellet,
All right. And in shorthand, when people are talking about ammunition, how do they say that?
S&B.
S&B. And then on the back right here, can you read that?
Yes, sir, I can.
And what does that say?
300 AAC blackout.
All right, if we go back to the video. Oops. For the record, I'm fast forwarding a little bit just to keep us going.
Yeah, let's fast forward this trial here a bit, buddies.
At this particular time, as it relates to the shotguns, are you looking to collect every single shotgun that's on that rack or only specific shotguns?
Only specific shotguns.
And what specific gauge of shotgun were you looking to collect?
12 gauge.
And why only 12 gauge?
That was the shell casings that was located at the crime scene.
All right, come on. Somebody ask a question.
Who's that individual standing in the center of the screen?
That would be Mr. John Marvin Murdaugh.
Now, you mentioned attorneys Lee Cope, Mark Ball, and Ronnie Crosby were in that room as well. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
And Mr. John Marvin Murdaugh, is that correct?
That is correct, yes,
And
sir.
what's his relation to the defendant?
He is the brother.
Was that everyone that was kind of there, or was there another attorney as well that was present?
There was an additional attorney that walked in the room early in the recording,
And who was that?
Chris Wilson.
Chris Wilson.
La la la.
Just generally, what are you doing right here?
Just getting an overall of where things were at when we went into the room before anything was actually moved.
Yes, Tony G says, I keep missing big chunks of the trial. Is it possible to do a quick 5 or 10 minute breakdown each day, highlights the important parts? Yeah, that's what I mentioned that a little bit earlier. I'm going to start 30 minutes early every day from now on. I'll start 30 minutes early every day so that we can we just do a little bit of a review and find out what happened the previous day, and also to reiterate some of the points that are made, because a lot of times you forget some of the details. So we'll kind of go back over, keep hitting the parts. We'll look at some other photos that come in. We'll look at some camera, the video interrogations. So that's the deal, to start 30 minutes early every day from now on, to do sort of a little review before we go.
Saw you doing something with your hands. What are you doing right there?
I'm putting latex gloves on my hands.
Now just convince everybody to come over here and watch the stream. We have a frightfully low 200 and something viewing right now. 283.
Collecting or securing those firearms.
Get everybody to come over here. Oh my Lord! Somebody say something.
What's that in your hand right there?
Thank you.
That is a 300 or an AR-15 chambered to 300 blackout.
Now pause for 15 more minutes.
What is that in your hand right there? I kind of fast forwarded it.
That was the magazine which I removed from the 300.
What ammunition was in that magazine?
S&B, 147 grain.
300 blackout?
300 blackout.
Let's see another item. Item 33, please.
There is okay. Now I'm just getting pissed. Now there is no reason for this to drag on incessantly like this. None at all. I mean, this is bullshit. Seriously, you can do this instantly. You can do this. This whole testimony could have been in under 5 minutes. Seriously. What was the size of the rounds that were found? I mean, what was the size of these shotgun shell casings that were found? What were the size of the cartridge of the shell casings that were found?
That's the sled item, but,
Did you gather all of the 12 gauge shotguns from the house? Did you gather all the 300s? Yes. The end. That's it.
Go ahead and pull it out. Just make sure not to point it at the jury. And if you could also make sure that it is not in a firing state, please, sir.
Exactly, Wintersteel.
It is safe.
All right. And what is that item right there?
This is the 300 blackout rifle, which I secured from the gun wall.
All right. Let me see it. Your Honor, at this time, we would move State's Exhibit 84.
Your Honor, I object on relevancy grounds. There's no evidence that this gun was the gun. I mean, it's just not relevant. We found.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hold on that gun for me, please, Special Agent Croft. Let's see what else is in this box.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
I'm going to show you the other part of State's Exhibit 88, and that's marked actually as State's Exhibit 210. What's that?
This would be the magazine which I removed from this rifle on the video, and the ammunition which it contained.
All right. And what kind of ammunition is that?
It's head stamped SMB 300 blackout.
All right. And do you know
that's
specific
not the murder
brand
weapon
and make and caliber of ammunition that was used to kill Maggie Murdaugh?
The head stamps on the shell casings at the crime scene was SMB 300 blackout.
Same thing?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk a little bit about this firearm. What is this thing on the top here?
That is a.
You got to prove that's
I
the
call it
weapon.
an optic, but it's actually a thermal scope, which can be used for shooting in the dark.
Okay. And this particular weapon, is this a semi-automatic weapon?
Yes, sir, it is.
And what does that mean? Can you tell the jury what that means?
Each press of the trigger, it will fire and eject the spent cartridge.
And where are the cartridges going to eject when this weapon is fired?
It would eject from the right-hand side, right here.
All right. So if it's being fired, they're coming out this way. Is that correct?
To the right and generally back. Excuse me.
All right. These are the rounds you're talking about right here?
Yes, sir, it is.
Those are the SMB 300s?
right.
Yes, sir, they are.
And this is that magazine that said 223 on it that you were talking about. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Look at my really, really wide tie.
All right. What's that you got in your arm now?
That is a 12 gauge Browning.
All right.
Oh, come on. Seriously. Where is the evidence this had anything to do, either of these guns had anything to do with the crime? They already objected to the relevance of the rifle, but it was overruled. So, hey, look at this! It's a super chat, and it's from Michelle. Thank you so much for the super chat. The state has to have something they can prove this case. I hope.
Just a hair.
Would they be able to go through a whole trial if they didn't actually have anything? They can go through the whole trial if they don't actually have anything. They're just going to lose, and they're going to lose hard. I mean, this is.
Bounty you collected, is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Why is the prosecutor? I guess they're somehow implying that this might be the murder weapon without laying any foundation for. I don't understand this because why would the prosecutor put up a gun and go, "This isn't the murder weapon, is it?" No, okay.
All right, I'm gonna bring you to item 31 here real quick. Before you open it, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna get this blackout rifle out of the way. Let's get block you.
I don't know why the judge didn't sustain that objection. I think it's irrelevant. I think it's irrelevant to put that in the rifle or the shotgun there, anything. I personally think it's irrelevant. But it could be that the judge just says, okay, let them argue it, let them say what they want, and the prosecution can deal with it on cross-examination, and the defense can deal with it on cross-examination.
All right.
Because the defense can just stand up and go, so is there any evidence whatsoever that this is the murder weapon? No? Okay.
I got you. Right there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Could you open that up and tell me what's in that if you recognize it, please?
That would be the Browning which I secured from the gun room.
All right. Can you, is it in an unfired condition? Can you show that to the jury, please?
It's in a safe condition, breech open.
All right. And this is chambered in what gauge?
12 gauge.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, we would move State's Exhibit 80 into evidence.
Relevancy, unless they have evidence tying it to the murders. I mean, there are a lot of guns that were seized, Your Honor.
There are.
Objection overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, my God.
My apologies.
That makes no sense why the judge is overruling that. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Unless he's just one of these judges that let all the evidence in and let God sort it, let the jury sort it.
All the other guns they plan to choose.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right. Let's return to the video.
No, the judge isn't an idiot. I mean, it's one option the judges have. They want to introduce the evidence. The defense can reject or try to counter the evidence on cross-examination. He's not an idiot.
We're good.
It's just it depends on how the judge wants to do it. It happens. Well, that's what I mean. The judge is definitely not an idiot. He is a fantastic, amazing judge. The jury is supposed to decide the facts. Is this, in fact, the gun that committed the murder, or is it not the gun? That's a question for the jury to decide. So the judge can just say, okay, it might be relevant. Let's put it in. Let the jury decide if this is what they want. Yeah, he's done it before. He's let other evidence in rather than excluding it. So it could just be that he's saying, all right, if the defense want to argue this isn't a murder weapon, they can do that on cross-examination.
What are you looking for in making that determination, the ones you take and the ones that you're putting back?
That it was chambered in 12 gauge.
Well, the foundation is they're the same size weapons as was used to commit the murders, and they're on the property, and they're owned by the person. They're owned, possessed, and controlled by the person who's accused of using a similar sized weapon in a murder. And at this point, really all the defense has to do is stand up, like I said earlier, and say, is there any evidence whatsoever that this was the weapon that was used to commit the murder? No. Okay, thank you. Get off the stand.
All right, you just put another gun on the table. You recognize that particular gun?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. And what about the particular condition of that gun? Did you notice, if anything?
That is a 12-gauge pump, and the breech is open. Inside of the chamber is a shotgun shell that's ready to be chambered into the to be fired.
And I've paused it at 20 minutes and 17 seconds. What do we see right there?
That is a 12-gauge shotgun shell that's ready to be chambered. Once you slide the pump action forward, it would be chambered into the chamber and ready to fire.
All right, thank you. And Your Honor, just very quickly for the record, with that Browning shotgun, I believe I referred to it as State's Exhibit 80. It's actually State's Exhibit 90, which I believe was admitted over objection. All right, let's go to 32, please.
And AZ Farrell says, if these are small town country jurors, I think they'll go along with the show. We'll just have to see. This is a town where his family has been the prosecutors. I think this is a different county. I think they already moved it once, but anyway, in this area, their family has been the prosecutor for like 112 years.
91. You could just take a look at it before you pull it out and tell me if you recognize what that is.
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is that?
That is a Benelli 12-gauge.
Thank you. Let me close that back up real quick.
Yeah, see, there you are, Kaiser. Dun, dun, dun. All right.
We got one step ahead of ourselves, so let's do this one. This is State's Exhibit 87. Let's try this one. Can we do this without knocking everything over?
I think so.
All right, let's try to take a look just real quick. I'll show it to the jury and tell me if you recognize that.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, tell me what that is.
Oh,
That
my
is
Lord.
the
So what?
pump shotgun, which I secured from the gun wall, which is depicted in the video.
This is the one that's on the screen right now?
Yes, sir, it is.
They're starting to bore you.
All right.
This is
For the
a
record, this is
devastating
State's
waste
Exhibit
of
89.
time.
Let's go ahead and take a look and see if you recognize that.
This has a very
That's
real
the gun we were just
potential
talking
of
about?
coming
Yes,
back
sir.
and
Yes.
biting
This
these
time I
guys
believe
in the
State's Exhibit
ass,
9 is
even
evidence.
more than they already don't have a case. You've bored these jurors.
Your Honor, objection on relevance, 403. There's no evidence linking these guns to the crime.
Yes.
And we're just cumulative.
Yes. Judge, come on, do something.
Did you want to respond to the speaking objection?
Yes, sir, I do want to respond to the speaking objection. It is very important to show the extensiveness of the investigation that was done, particularly as it goes to firearms.
Oh, it is
And there were
not.
multiple guns that were
Bullshit.
tested, and there will be an innocent list here later to show how those guns were tested and what the results of those. So
No,
admitting
that-
these guns
that-
in
no,
evidence
that's-
to show
that's
the extent
bullshit.
of what was tested is very relevant, Your Honor.
No, just say we tested every fucking weapon in
Thank
the
you.
house.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's it. One question. How many weapons did you test? We tested all
All
of
right,
the
let's go
300s.
ahead
We
and,
tested
show the
all
jury
of the
this one if we
12-gauge
can,
shotguns.
please. Is it
That's
not
all
in
you
fire
got to say.
condition? Fireable condition?
That
Breech
is
open.
shit.
It's not in fireable condition.
All right. And when you first got this particular, or took this weapon
And
off the
really,
wall,
what's the
what was
answer?
different about its
We
condition
tested
than
all
we
of them,
talked
and we
about?
found that none of them
had a
matched
round
up. Or this is the murder weapon. One of those two.
ready to be
Say it and be done with it. I'm starting to get pissed now.
Let me see it just real quick.
This is an absolute
is this
fucking waste of
a
time.
semi-automatic type shotgun or a pump shotgun?
It's a pump shotgun.
All right, and when a
he's
shell
never
is
been
fired
pumped in
and
his
the
life.
mechanism is used, what happens to the spent shell case?
When you bring the forearm back, the shell case is ejected similar to a semi-auto.
And which
It
way
is a
would it go out of
majority
this particular
female
firearm?
jury,
Go to the right.
As an example.
as I
Go to the
understand
right?
it.
Yes.
But in rural South Carolina, I would imagine that the women can probably
Just pointed
shoot
out a court
as
order,
well
sorry.
or better than the men.
All right, this item was found within that weapon, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, tell me what that is.
It's a 12 gauge, 3.5 inch shell, 2 1/4, number
So?
79.
Is that a turkey leg?
Yes, sir, it is.
A turkey leg?
What?
What?
If you would, real quick.
A turkey leg? All right. Of course you are, Flux, and you have a medal to prove it. I'll tell you, Dick Poon is going to dismantle this guy. Dick Poon is just going to tear this guy apart. Ah, for the love of God. Move this on! Christ!
What are y'all doing right now?
We are securing a Benelli.
Trying not to delete ourselves out of boredom.
All right. So we just did states 89. And now let's do states. Can you tell me the number on the bottom of that one?
91.
91. All right, just real quick, if you can just take a look without showing it to the jury and see if you recognize that.
Yes, sir, I do.
And tell me what that is, please.
That is the Benelli shotgun, which I secured. It's depicted in the video.
Your Honor, at this time, we would move states 91 into evidence.
What, are we going to get another damn gun? How many more guns you got, pal?
All right, let's go ahead and again, if you can show that to the jury, please.
Look, it's another gun.
All right, thank you very much.
Ooh. Looky there.
You can point at me, that's all right. All right, I'm going to show you what's inside this particular exhibit and see if you recognize those items, please.
Yes, sir.
All right, and what are those items?
Those are two 12 gauge shells, which were loaded in the Benelli at the time we secured it.
What, if anything, can you tell me about the type of shells those are?
What do you mean, bald eagle jerk? I seem to forget what country this took place in.
Head stamp is
What do you
Winchester
mean?
12 gauge, long beard, so 3 inch, number 4. And the head stamp on the red one is a Federal 12 gauge, 7 2.5 ounce. It's 3.5 inch Federal premium shell.
Different types of ammunition, even different sizes, is that correct?
That is correct.
One is a Winchester and one's a Federal, is that correct?
That is correct.
Let's close this box.
A parade of guns. It's a Gunapalooza. Which gun do we get next? We need another boomstick.
All right, back to the video. We're picking up at 2158.
Yes.
At this point on that gun rack, did you observe any other 12 gauges?
No, sir.
In the South, isn't lots of guns positive? Well, in some parts of the South, there's a lot of very liberal parts in the South. In my view, lots of guns are a positive.
Who you having a conversation with right there?
Attorney Mark
Oh, yeah.
Ball.
Is he pointing in that box?
We
Yes,
just don't
sir,
need
he
this.
is.
He's got a lot more than
Is he
that.
pointing about what y'all were talking about?
Yes,
But-
sir, he is.
They described it as having a gun room, like a wall of guns. They're just getting the 300s and the 12 gauges. But we still don't even need to see them all. You can literally do this with 3 or 4 sentences. Everything that they've spent the last hour doing can be done in 3 or 4
Fast forward a little
sentences.
bit. We're gonna talk more about this, but after collecting these various firearms, did you and the other agents ultimately collect both spent rounds as well as unfired rounds property in the house?
Yes, sir, we did.
That's what generally the video is depicting from here on out.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, so the Jeopardy music actually lasted longer than the question, and now we're back to insert something to pass the time until they ask the next question at some point in the far distant future. Hello? Bueller? Bueller? Look at me. I'm Alex Murdaugh. Sorry. That's childish of me.
Is that empty box we were just talking about earlier?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. This is a prime example of borderline ADHD law racks
record, we're at
trying to
28
fucking entertain
minutes and
himself
59
during
seconds.
the stream. Oh, my Lord.
Right up there, the top of the screen on top of those little shelves. Do you know what that is?
I don't see where you're talking, sir.
Let me back it up. You can step down for me real quick.
Step down and back it up. Back it up all the way.
Time. That silvery thing, you know what that is?
Silvery thing? You mean the gun?
Right there.
I didn't catch a good look at it, sir. It looks like a juice box drink.
Okay. 2 Sprite string. All right, keep on going if you would.
What is he, 12? Was it you take out the gun and you enjoy a little Capri Sun with your firearms?
I'm just kind of fast forwarding it. What's generally going on right here?
Still looking for any additional weapons or ammunition.
Yeah.
Right there on the image at 3804. Who's sitting on the couch?
That would be Attorney Chris Wilson.
Who gives a shit who is sitting on the couch in a particular picture? Who? Who cares about this? This is just yikes all the way around. The jury is, I mean, I'm putting myself in the position of a juror. Right now, it's 1 p.m. You've been there all day, sitting there. You're hungry. You got there at 9 o'clock, 9:15 in the morning. Your trial starts at 9:30. It's now 1 p.m. You haven't eaten. You've taken 2 piss breaks, maybe 3. I think 3 piss breaks. And this guy, you're just dead air while this guy sits here and looks at and tries to find the next irrelevant question to ask. Flux, bringing the heat. My Saturday night stream that got pushed to tonight will be about forensics, so we can go over how stupid this is.
Bear with me. I'm going to kind of fast forward through this.
You're not fast forwarding through shit, pal. And that's the problem. Holy God.
And for the record, I'm at 4708.
Nicholas Starov, union rep, labor lawyer. Look at all the stuff we tagged. Convict him. And that's kind of where we are. I mean, literally, the only question that has been asked in the last 2.5 minutes is who is that sitting on the couch? That is the only question in the last almost 3 minutes
Was on
now.
your cell phone right there?
Yes, sir, I did.
Who was that?
Captain Ryan Neal.
Is that your boss at the time?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay. And so what are you doing right now?
I'm fixing to step outside to talk to him.
All right. Does your body camera go off at that point?
It does.
All right. Tell me what happens when you go outside. Do you go outside that stoop we showed earlier?
Yes, sir, I go out of the side door, same door we entered.
All right. What, if anything, did you observe outside?
I observed on the ground, right at the edge of the stoop, what appeared to be a 300 blackout spent shell casing, appeared to be weathered as if it had been there for some time.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you decide to do at that point?
After talking to Captain Neal, I went back inside. I asked Special Agent Anthony Sampson to step outside with me so that we could secure those shell casings. We again activated the body-worn camera, and we walked outside and we secured those, or we secured shell casings from around that stoop.
Okay. Bear with me real quick.
Bear with me again while I completely waste all your time again.
I've been marked as State's Exhibit 260 for identification at this time, and why don't you have to take a look at that and see if you recognize that?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, let me take them back real quick. And what are these?
Those are the spent shell casings, which I picked up from around the stoop on the outside of 4147 Moselle Road outside the gun room.
All right, and when you say that they were in weather condition, what do you mean by that?
The brass is tarnished. They had dirt in them. It just appeared they had been sitting in the weather for a while.
Okay. And did, if I could have the helmet out, please.
You're exactly right, Barbara.
Like the bullets that were with the magazine that the jury earlier saw from the prior exhibit?
No, sir.
There is no weather today. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here. I have no idea. It's black outside. It's jet freaking black.
All right, I'm just going to put this exhibit without objection, put it up on the screen. It's marked for identification at this time. And again, if you could describe for the jury the condition of those cases when they caught your eye.
I apologize. I couldn't hear what you said.
My
Oh,
apologies.
please don't make him
Again, if
repeat
you would,
questions.
just describe for the jury what you're talking about about these cases when you that caught your eye when you saw them outside.
Well, the brass was not shiny as a new casing would be. It appeared that it had been sitting in the weather for some time. It had began to tarnish inside of the where the bullet had been expelled from the end. The inside had dirt, grass. Obviously, it had been there for a while.
What was
Well, hello, sir.
brand? and
I'm
type
awake.
of ammunition
Barely.
that's in this particular exhibit?
You're 1 minute late.
300 BOK, Butch blackout.
I want to kill myself.
That good, huh?
Video, if I could, please.
Yeah. I literally just want to end it all right now.
Well, I think I saw a gun floating around.
Only one because you're lazy and you're asleep. You missed like the 5 other fucking guns. This is so fucked up. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh God.
This is so bad. And
how many times have you heard the word 300 blackout?
I don't fucking know. A lot. A lot. Like a real lot. This is a disaster.
So the prosecution does not have you convinced right now.
Dude, I think it's over. I think they've lost. I think he
Really?
is walking. I'm still, unless something happens to change my mind, he's walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll when we go over on your stream, if they ever fucking take a lunch, Jesus.
I was gonna
fuck.
say I bumped it another 15 minutes on my stream just because they haven't even fucking taken lunch here.
And it's, unless something happens, Michelle says they still have 2 weeks. They do, but
not the prosecution.
That,
the prosecution does not have
On the
that
screen
time
right here.
Yeah.
half of that's going to be defense
We
time.
are locating the 300 shell casings.
Take a shot every time he says that. Yeah. No. But yeah, I mean, half of it's going to be prosecution, half is going to be defense, but you still have to do closing arguments. You still have to do jury deliberations. I mean, the prosecution has got to rest in the
He
next
is
2 or
picking
3
the,
days.
Shell casing up.
At most.
Is that one of the casings
part
that's
of
in this
that-
bag right here that you identified?
Yes,
Part of
sir,
that
it
3
is.
weeks was, I think, intended to be jury deliberations.
Yeah. It's supposed to be, thing's supposed to be over on the 10th. As Farrell says, time to drink each time they say 300 blackout. Yeah, like I was saying,
We would be 300 blacked out.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot more super chatting going on to make that worth my time to put myself into a coma during the weekdays. Oh Lord! See, look at it. There's these fucking silences that I lost my shit about 15 minutes ago with this. There's literally 90-second pause, and then he's like, "Who's that sitting on the couch?" Okay, and then there's another 90-second pause.
That's so fucking weird.
Who's that holding your cell phone in this
That is
picture?
another shell casing on the, if you're facing the door or the stoop door, it'd be on the left-hand side of the stoop.
Ones that are in this bag, State's Exhibit 260.
Yes, sir, it is.
And what brand and type?
S&B 300 BOK.
I mean, what's going on now is there's a video with no audio being shown to the jury. So at least the jury is watching a video of this.
The jury is getting a little bit of video.
It's a video of not a fucking thing. Not a goddamn thing. It's literally them walking around the gun room, apparently. Other lawyers from his firm are there, and they're sitting on the couch. It's like they're it sounds like they're watching a videotape of a Seinfeld episode.
Just picked up.
That would be another S&B 300 blackout shell casing.
One
This
more
bag
fucking
we've been
time.
talking about.
Yes, sir.
I mean, the jury's just got to be pissed at this freaking waste of time. Was it 12? 4 hours into this. 3 hours and 30 minutes into this. And I think they could have they could have hit every high point in 25 minutes that they've taken 3.5 hours to do. Clarice Starling, she was on the witness stand for like an hour and a half today. Mm-hmm. So she was there for a long time before I checked out on Friday. Then she went, and I guess the rest of Friday plus the morning, most of the morning. Nothing.
Yeah. Clarice was supposed to go on cross on today, so I assume that was this morning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How did Dick Poon do on cross?
Oh, dude, we got to talk.
Okay.
That's right. That's where I think the prosecution lost the case.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Have you seen James, by the way? Is James from court?
I have not. The courtroom is packed today.
Okay.
Both sides are full.
How about our girl?
I think we've seen her on the aisle. I think we saw her on the aisle. There was someone with black hair, attractive, wearing a really, really bright red "Look at Me" dress. We think that might have been her. Meme was here for a while, and even Memes just didn't want to self-delete, so he left.
Yeah, no, I get it. I completely understand. I completely understand.
At that point, y'all collected all 5 cases that are in this bag?
Yes, sir, we had.
Well, congratulations. You spent 25 minutes of our life collecting 5 shell casings.
Did you go to any other locations that day? What day is this right now, with those videos you just watched?
6/8 of 21.
21. On June 8th of 2021, the day after the murders, did you go to any other location in the property to search, to your recollection?
I don't think it was that day, no, sir.
Okay. Did you ultimately go and search a shed at the property?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. And what specifically did y'all search at the shed?
The trash that had been taken away from the house.
Okay. And I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 161 to your testimony, and I'll see if you recognize that exhibit.
Fucking kill me.
Yes, sir, I do.
What that exhibit is, please.
This is a video of my body-worn camera when we were actually digging in the trash that was we took to the shed and dug through.
All right. Your Honor, this time I would offer State's Exhibit 161 into evidence, I believe, without objection. That's correct.
It's admitted.
All right.
What is it? Better be a fucking lunch coupon for Golden Corral or something.
This time, I'm going to publish Exhibit 161.
If Alex takes the stand, he's an idiot. That's my thought.
Why? Yeah, someone's said that in the chat. I'm like, why would he take the stand? Literally, that would just fuck him. There's no way, no reason. This is not a self-defense case. The only way he would take it is if this was a self-defense case, which it is not. There's no reason for him to get on the stand.
There's a very, very good chance the defense case could be 1 day long.
I mean,
they just stand up and go
28 seconds in. What are we seeing right there?
They just stand up and go, they didn't prove a
That
fucking
is
thing.
the large shed that's
Maybe put some of their witnesses
or
back on to
hanger.
rip them apart. That's about it.
just probably to the right middle of the screen would be the dog kennels, dog house. To the far right is the, I think it's chicken coop. But the shed is where we went through some trash that we had secured.
All right. Step down for me, if you would, please. Let's kind of point that out for the jury.
Yes, please. Point it out.
So where are the kennels in this particular video?
The kennels are right here.
And where's the feed room in this video?
The feed room would be right here on the end.
All right. Where's the little doghouse in this video?
This would be the doghouse.
All right. What is this thing right there underneath the shed?
That's
Brains.
UTV under the shed.
And then the kennels extend down this way with various cages?
Yes, sir, it does.
Thank you. You can retake your seat.
Yeah. Come on, they proved the incompetence of the on-scene officers, the investigators, and the evidence collectors. Yeah, that's not exactly what the prosecution wants to prove, though. That's kind of the opposite of what they want to prove.
Yeah.
What are y'all about to do right here?
We're about to dig in trash.
Digging trash?
Yes, sir.
Is that a fun
About
job?
to dig in
It's
trash.
not, but that's
What is
done.
Abilene?
He hasn't cried much today.
All right, at 124, I'm just going to fast forward it some. What is that image right now at 145 that's on the screen?
That is a empty box, 12 gauge premium turkey load ammunition.
All right, and what is that right there?
An empty box of 12 gauge long beard, 3.5 inch, let's see, 2 ounce, number 4 shot.
Let me say, yeah.
What is that right there?
That is a empty box of 12 gauge. It's got Browning on it, TSS. It's a 3.5 inch, 2 1/4, number 7 and 9.
All right, for the record, I'm fast forwarding then.
Not fast enough.
What is this right now that we're seeing at 3 minutes and 7 seconds?
That is appeared to be a credit card statement or receipt, and it's got an
It
item
better
circled
say
on it.
like Hitman, Hitman. Even and actually that get him off.
Was there was an item circled on it?
That is correct.
And what was the score on that particular item?
Goosey store.
Gucci?
Yeah.
Goosey?
What was the amount?
He did not fucking just say Goosey.
$1,021.10.
Okay. And somebody had circled that particular entry. Is that
It's
correct?
Danny
That is
on for
correct.
about 3.5 minutes.
Why are you popping off?
It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
It's
gentlemen.
morning. No, but Andrew will continue going at least until we get this fucking thing to lunch. You just missed something.
For the
The
record, I'm
Goosey
just
store?
fast forwarding through.
Yeah.
Y'all searching
They
through
found the
trash, is
receipt
that
there in
right?
the Goosey
Yes, sir, we
store.
are.
Did you find
I just
anything
like
else
flash
in
back
that
to
trash?
what was that
No, sir,
horrible
we did
movie
not.
with was it Sarah Michelle getting the stripper pole in
What?
Vegas show Showgirls.
Showgirls. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
With I got my Versace dress on. Got your Goosey bag.
Definitively
Hello,
one
Danny.
of the worst movies ever made.
That was one of my favorite things when my Korean brother-in-law came to visit us in Utah. He's like, I want to go to Vegas. Why? So I can see where they filmed Showgirls. Like, no, you don't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I do. I'm like, no, you don't. So then he said, yeah, I do. So we went to Vegas. We stayed at the Excalibur when the Excalibur was a nice place to stay. And then we went off Broadway to the bar where they filmed this place. There's a bunch of outlaw bikers in the parking lot, people vomiting, just like you look like you would catch something breathing the air. And I'm like, this is where it was filmed. Want to go in? No, I don't think so. So we went back and watched some other dumb show.
Stand by for me real quick.
Yeah. So what do you think, Danny?
I think the guy's not guilty unless the friggin' prosecution can come up with something and connect some dots here for me. And I'm not even one who needs dots to be connected for me, but this is bad.
King Ginger, no, I'm not
why
married.
would you
This
not
was-
need dots? Well, hold on. But why would you not
Yeah.
need dots connected for you to prove a man guilty of murder?
No, I'm saying for me personally,
Okay.
I'm one of those jurors who can make connections without it needing to be spelled out. For me.
Understood. Okay, yeah.
That's
yeah.
what I meant to say. So, even for me, this is not making sense. I've tried to, pontificate on the many reasons why they're doing it this way, and it just doesn't make
I'll
sense.
show you what's been marked as State's
I don't know.
Exhibit
This
214,
is bad.
which is an evidence
I just think for a
bag,
murder
and
case,
see
you got to
if you
spell it
recognize
out.
what's in there.
I think you can't be like, hey, you got to connect, A to Z to D to F to G. I mean, to convict a man beyond a reasonable doubt of murder, it has to be very fucking clear. And I'm not even sure I'm not even sure what's going on right now.
Yes, I do.
All right, tell me what's
They're
in that bag.
showcasing all the guns.
These are the
Obviously, if he owns all these
shell
guns,
boxes
he must be
which
the
I
murderer.
described
I
on the
have no
video,
idea.
observed
Wow,
on the video.
that sounds like a
and
Second
it's
Amendment
the,
infringement. Yeah,
receipt,
that's great.
credit
In
card
the grand
receipt, which
scheme
was
of
for
spelling things out, this is a bunch of monkeys with
Circle thing with
typewriters.
Gucci on it.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, this time I've moved State's Exhibit
About
214 in evidence. I believe without objection.
They brought in. This is one of the things that I was going to go over when we flip over to your show before I hit the sack. Was they brought in like 4 or 5 different weapons that they collected at the scene that have not a fucking thing to do with the murder.
Including the mythical Borelli, which is what I named it
Yeah.
on Nick's show accidentally.
Did you ultimately return out to the scene
when they
to do
said
an
Borelli,
additional
they were
search, or out to the
missaying
property
Benelli,
as a
right?
whole to do an
Yeah.
additional
Benelli
search?
and
Yes,
Beretta,
sir.
I confused
All right,
the
you
two.
remember what
Combining the
Name.
two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle says the IKEA of murder
I think it
trials.
was 13.
Pretty much.
And what were you looking for on that particular search?
Michelle, that's beautiful.
Again, looking for
That's a great
any
description.
firearms, shells, shell casings that would could be tested for a potential weapon to use to drink out of.
You know,
And do you remember
they
who
would
were
just
some
bring
of
in
the
a
other agents
weapon
that are out
and
there,
go,
or
"What is
what
this?
else
Oh,
was
it's this
going on at
weapon.
that
Oh,
time?
okay." And there'd be an objection relevance, and the judge is like, "Yeah,
I
let the
think
jury
Agent
sort it out."
McAllister was there. If I'm not mistaken, Mindy may have been there. There was a
I
number
mean,
of
if
agents
I'm the
there.
defense, though, I'll let them shoot themselves in the foot, right? Don't stop your enemy while they're making a
Most-
mistake.
Show you.
The most devastating thing that the defense could do on cross-examination is stand up and go,
Mark for
"Did
identification on
any
Mark
of this
right now,
evidence they
State's
showed you
Exhibit
have
152 and
anything to do
151,
whatsoever
and
with
see
the
if you
murder?"
recognize those
No?
items.
Okay, done. That's it.
Mr. Terrible, I look like a geek every day. I just happen to have glasses on today. 'cause
Yes, sir, I
can't find
do.
my stinking
And can you
contacts.
tell the jury just generally what those items are?
It's 300 blackout ammunition
Again.
and magazine containing 300 blackout ammunition that was collected.
All right. And was this collected?
He called it a 30, was it a 30 millimeter
yes.
round earlier, which would essentially be a mortar round.
It's Kim Jong-un style rounds.
Yeah. God. But yeah, and the germ, the prosecutor made a bad joke at the beginning that nobody laughed at. The witness didn't hear, and he had to repeat a bad joke. It was a disaster from the beginning.
Fair amount to cover, Your Honor.
All right. Ladies and
Never
gentlemen, we're
repeat the
going
joke.
to,
If people don't
we're
get it, move
talking
on. Like,
only to the jury. Everyone else remain seated.
Jesus Christ,
We
finally.
will reconvene at in an hour and 20 minutes. An hour and 20 minutes. Please go to the jury room.
Wow.
Wow. These guys really just do not care about starving out the jury.
No, they don't.
I mean, also boring them with fucking useless testimony, but I mean, that happens in a lot of cases.
It's beyond useless, though. I mean, we'll get into some of the details a little bit later when we now. What time did you reset everything to start at the bottom of the hour?
Yeah, I bumped it for another 10 minutes from now, but I'll head over in like 8.
With regard to the admission of the guns, any further, anything further, the state or the defense would like to place on the record.
Well, Your Honor, I would put some further argument. in the record in that the guns had been tested ballistically. The test excluded the guns as being in the murder as murder weapons, is my understanding. And as a result, they're just not relevant. They have photos of the guns, which is completely sufficient information for the jury and to get the information in that they were tested. But sending, just weapon after weapon back into the jury room during jury deliberations, we think is unfairly prejudicial.
Makes sense to me.
And response, Mr.
That does make sense.
The defense, as
Even in
you
South
might
Carolina,
expect, has
look a bit
already
much.
challenged the sufficiency of the investigation and what was done. And I think the state, not only just generally, but also certainly in response to those lines of examination, is entitled to show the extent of the examinations that were done in analyzing the relevant firearms evidence that was on scene. This agent gathered 12-gauge weapons for a reason, because 12-gauge rounds were used to murder Paul Murdaugh, and therefore admission of those was relevant, not overly prejudicial. Certainly nothing about the way we did that examination.
The state analyzes all sorts of evidence that is irrelevant to the case, that is not allowed in at trial. So why the hell are they allowing this?
Tending to make the existence of any fact that is of consequence to the determination of the action more or less probable than it would be without the evidence. This evidence of these guns were part of the crime scene in and around the crime scene.
This is an issue.
Or around the time of the
So Princess is on parade for the guns, I guess.
Issues have been raised regarding multiple guns, multiple shooters, multiple spent rounds, and the court, in its discretion, admitted the evidence as being relevant, and there's no dispute that the defendant had multiple guns in and around his place, and I find that it's relevant and more probative than prejudicial.
Of what?
That's the basis for the court.
That's the issue there.
To admitting that.
Literally, probative of what?
And
They had
we'll
nothing to
be
do with the
on break
murder.
For an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, probative.
That he owned guns, that there were 12 gauges around the area. Like, we could have established that. They did establish this.
I mean, the one thing that I'm kind of hopeful for is this is South Carolina. So I hope no one is surprised by the fact that he's got guns, but if this was a different jurisdiction, you can see how this could be used to pretty much condemn gun owners, right? If you're that guy who happens to own guns and they parade out all of your guns that you happen to own. Oh, here's every 9mm he owns because this person was shot with a caliber 9mm round. It's ridiculous.
I totally agree. I think it's more prejudicial than it is probative. I would have absolutely raised that objection in addition to the lack of relevance.
Yeah, and they kept objecting to it. And the judge just kept overruling and just did it again. I mean, he did say at the beginning when they were doing the motions in limine that he's sort of against limiting information. He believes the jury should be the one to decide the facts, but
okay, but
I mean, to parade 5 weapons that had nothing to do with the crime is a bit over the line.
Yes.
I'm just sad because one, they didn't show us all of the guns. They only showed us the first 2, and then the rest was like a magic trick. Look in the box, and is it there? And it's like, hey, at least give me a show while you're at it. And on top of that, it's just such a waste of time. And I'm disappointed. I really liked this judge, and now my feelings are waning, and I don't know how to feel about that.
You're having second thoughts, Danny.
I am. I'm getting cold feet on this judge. I'm going, when we were first started off, you had it in the bag, man. You were funny. You were friendly. You were flirting with he wasn't flirting, but he was, nice to everybody, the potential jurors. And I'm just disappointed.
I mean, he might be getting exasperated with the prosecution too.
Or he
He's
might be
all
trying
right.
to give them a little bit of a gimme since he sees they're not doing that well.
So I can see. I mean, you can see that, but I can also go, all right, you want to bring all this shit in and bore the jury to death and have them hate you? Go right ahead.
But that pisses me off. If he is giving them a little gimme because he knows that they're not doing well, that means that the state doesn't have a case. Why the heck is the judge trying to make a case for the state? If anything, the judge should be very wary of that.
I agree. No, I wholeheartedly agree with that. That they should be careful to do that, and I think it creates an appeal issue, right? Admitting that and allowing this parade of guns that have nothing to fucking do with the case into the jury box.
I mean, it's definitely leading to an appeal issue. I mean, this is, and they've been referring to it as the gun room or the wall of guns. It's basically like the guy's got an armory there in his house. But so what?
Right. Even if he did.
So what?
What
Even if he did.
Yeah, like what if he was doing hunting tours on his property? Actually, Legal Mindset, your review of his property was so helpful, and I'm so grateful that I watched it because it finally put into context all of this. And that's what I was saying on Nick's show is they need to be doing measurements in terms of football fields so that people, the juror, can like actually envision, what it is they're talking about. It took if it takes you, 15 minutes to walk or run 1 mile. It takes me about 20 to run a mile or to walk a mile. It takes about 15 to run a mile, right? Jog a mile. If it takes that long to be jogging, was he covered in sweat? You would have known because he's in South Carolina. Okay. Freaking condensation happens if you just stand there. So was he sweating? Did he have his car? Did the car tracks go from point A to point B? I mean, there's just so many holes to dig for the defense to dig into the story. And I was really disappointed that they didn't have more exhibits and more demonstratives so that the jury can put in their mind's eye what's going on and envision it.
To me, I think that's because the prosecution knows that those demonstratives might not help them. They might, in fact, hurt them. And I think a lot of these facts are going to come back, especially when the defense comes around, to hurt them. Just all the defense has to do is just show facts about this case. Like I said, facts about the property, facts about how big it is. And these things are not going to add up. This timeline is not going to add up. Well, to me.
Danny was saying she doesn't need all of the dots connected, but
I think you have to.
But I mean, there's no dots on this page.
Yeah.
This is very much, I mean, weird pun, dude. Weird turn of phrase, but it's a shotgun approach. They're just going throwing the shit on the wall, and they want. I don't know. There's no logical, coherent story here.
Yeah.
If I look at it, there's not a single thing they have said that links him to actually pulling the trigger in anything that happened here.
Yeah, that's what I need to see. I need to see ALEX Murdaugh behind the trigger, because that's the whole thing. He may have even hired somebody, right? But that's not what he's charged with, and that's not their theory of the case.
Yeah.
If that was their theory of the case, then fine. Like, you might be able to convince me of that, right? Saying, hey, it was either ALEX Murdaugh or somebody he hired. But in this case, it's got to be ALEX Murdaugh with the shotgun, with the 300 blackout, in the dog kennel, right? It's got to be
That's what happens.
Innocent.
And Meme Copium was saying, well, what if it was him and another shooter? Can they still charge him with the murder? I said, well, yeah, okay. Which one did he shoot?
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about the foot lady expert?
Yes. Yes. Miss Tire Tracks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clarice.
Clarice is also, she's Clarice Starling.
The miss, I don't actually know anything or what's going on. I was like, what was that about? And why were they not objecting on any of that, right? Where they're having her speculate, is there more than one shooter? Was there, could it have been from more than one shooter? If you were standing up, could you have shot this way? It's like, damn, aliens could have come down and shot a bunch of holes through this thing. I don't know.
Gee, what a weird, that's exactly the example I used.
Really?
Aliens coming down from Mars to shooting people. Yeah. Well, she's also she is a peer-reviewed footwear analyst specialist. So,
yeah, well,
she was naming all these things
for what that's worth, right? I mean, I'll that is not worth, to me, that is not worth much at all.
Well, Danny, are you going to come on over to Legal Mindset with me and give a review?
I have been invited. Yes, I will click the link now.
Okay, awesome. I will see you.
I'll do my 2-minute out here. Danny's left me too. I'm all alone. All right, everybody. Here's what's coming up tomorrow. This trial. Thursday, this trial. I'm not going to be able to do an OJ this week. We'll have to bump OJ to after this trial because I'm going to be starting the streams 30 minutes early every day. So we can get a 30-minute review, a 30-minute walk into the show rather than just going in cold at the same time the jury comes in. We'll have a little bit of time to discuss it, answer some questions, do some things like that. So I'll be starting the streams now at 9 a.m. Eastern. The court will start at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. And then Friday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing my Fuck It Friday stream where we just say, fuck it, I drink lots of alcohol. You pay me $100 per shot to do a premium whiskey shot, or just whatever the other super chats add up to $100. I do a shot. We get it all out of the way one day a week where we just drink and have fun. We have a wide range of people. Who do we have so far locked in for Fuck It Friday stream? Let me pull up my list here so far, and the list is short at this point because it's still early in the week. Let me tell you who's going to be coming on the stream so far is somebody. Where the hell did my list go? Got to get on over to Andrew. Okay, so far we have Ozzy Overlaw, Danny On, Meme Copium, Runkle of the Bailey, and Stephen N. Gosney will be joining. We usually end up with about 10 or 12 internet personalities to join us for the drunk stream, and we just have a great time. So that's what's going to happen. And then we'll go back to next Monday. We'll be doing another Maritime Monday, and we'll be doing the stream. So that's it. Right now, I'm going to thank. Oh, by the way, thank you, everybody. Let's see how our poll ended up. Our poll ended up with, I think he'll be found guilty 16%, not guilty 33%, and still making up my mind 51%. That's how the poll ends today. Mods, thank you for being here. Chat, thank you for being here. Thank you for all the super chats that you gave today. Steph, the alternate, finished work and I am now free. Woo! We are all going over to Legal Mindsets channel. And Steph, the alternate, she is on the definite maybe list for joining us on Fuck It Friday. I hope she'll be able to go. It's 1 a.m. in her, in her realm of the universe when we're starting. So it's a little bit early for her. But yeah, she says, I may possibly show my face on the F It Friday stream. Oh, I certainly hope so. I think you should take a nap after you get home on Friday so you can join us because we'd love to have you here. It's just not a Fuck It Friday without Steph, the alternate. So, all right, what's going to happen is I'm going to end this stream and you should be automatically filtered. Ooh, I haven't set it up to automatically filter him yet. I don't think. I almost killed that. Let's see. Let's make sure that we are ready to go. What should happen is when I end the stream, you should be automatically funneled over to Legal Mindsets channel. If not, there's going to be a little box at the top of the chat that says click here if you want to go join. That should work. And if that doesn't work, just go to Legal Mindsets channel and click on we save this here. Okay, and then click on the live video, and that's what it'll be. So, all right, let's see if this works. Everybody, we will see you here 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm sorry, 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Steph, I hope we get to see you on Friday. Love you, girl. You rock. Everybody, let's go over to Legal Mindset and enjoy more legal vices. Bye now.